Chapter 509. The seven-story European-style bell tower stood out among the buildings in Lan Kwai Fong. The vicissitudes of 100 years had left indelible traces on this building. It still stood proudly in the wind and rain, silently witnessing the rise and fall of Hong Kong. Compared with the other bars in Lan Kwai Fong, which were full of neon lights, the exterior decoration of the bell tower bar had a lot more taste of the precipitation of time. It was deep and restrained and rich in style. A simple copper signboard with beautiful hand-engraved characters, under the orange light of the antique lamps, inadvertently attracted the attention of passers-by and tourists. Unfortunately, the bell tower bar was not open to the public tonight, but there were many figures holding long and short cameras wandering on the street outside the bar. There was no doubt that they were paparazzi who got the news and came to grab the news. The Bell Tower Music Salon was a gathering of Hong Kong musicians. The initiator was a famous figure in the Hong Kong pop music world. The time of the event was not fixed, and the people invited were also not fixed. But those who were qualified to be invited were all people with identity, status or ability in the circle. Therefore it was very normal for paparazzi to appear outside the bar. They had the most sensitive sense of smell. Any movement in the circle would be known, and they would appear in a specific place as soon as possible. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, far from the time when Hong Kong's nightlife began, most of the bars in Lan Kwai Fong had opened for business, and the streets were full of people, many of whom were tourists from all over the world. Suddenly, flashes were lit in the crowd, accompanied by high and low screams. Wu Yanan. Jiang Wei. Look, it's Zhu Wenhua. These names represented the shining stars in the Hong Kong pop music world, so they immediately attracted the attention of passers-by, and everyone gathered around to watch the fun. Those celebrities recognized by the paparazzi quickened their steps and walked into the bar under the cover of their assistants. The bar had already arranged security personnel at the door, and idlers and paparazzi who were not invited could not enter. In fact, as a celebrity gathering, the Bell Tower Music Salon was not very private. No matter when it was held, the news would spread to the circle in a very short time, and the paparazzi who heard the news would more or less bring some trouble to the participants. However, this trouble was nothing for the people who participated in the party. Although the Bell Tower Music Salon was just a gathering of people in the circle, its influence on the Hong Kong pop music world could not be underestimated. To a certain extent, it had become the wind vane of Hong Kong pop music. However, it must be admitted that the status of Hong Kong pop music was quite embarrassing, far from the glory of the past. The influence of the Bell Tower Music Salon was also declining, but it was becoming more and more popular. When Lu Qin and Qin Fei arrived at the Bell Tower bar, there happened to be a well-known singer in front of them. The paparazzi's attention was on the other party, so they ignored them. The paparazzi's in lieu of Bell Tower bar. And they saw it. The interior of the Bell Tower bar was decorated in an extraordinary style. The designer's painstaking creativity could be seen everywhere. On the right side of the door was a long starlight wall, on which hundreds of celebrity photos were hung. Mr. Lu Qin, Mississippi Qin Fei. The one who welcomed Lu Qin and Qin Fei was a middle-aged man with an elegant demeanor. He wore a white casual suit and had a warm and gentle smile. He had the charm of a mature man. I am the host of this Bell Tower Music Salon, Guo Huayan. Welcome. Of course, the host of the Bell Tower Music Salon was not an unknown person. This Guo Huayan was a famous host of Hong Kong satellite TV, a famous speaker in the news circle and a columnist. Guo Huayan came from a famous family in Hong Kong and had a wide range of contacts in and out of the circle. In addition, he had a good character, so he had been the host of the Bell Tower Music Salon for several consecutive years. When Yi Xian called to invite Lu Qin, he specifically mentioned this host. In fact, with Yi Xian's status in the Xiangjiang pop music world, he was not qualified to directly invite Lu Qin and Qin Fei to participate in the Bell Tower Music Salon. However, as a participant of many music salons, he recommended to the promoter. After getting the latter's approval, he called Lu Qin. The invitation was sent to Lu Qin's studio yesterday. Hello, Mr. Guo. Lu Qin and Qin Fei shook hands with him. When shaking hands with Qin Fei, Guo Huayan's eyes flashed with amazement. He said half-jokingly, I found it was a mistake to invite Mississippi Qin Fei here today. Qin Fei was stunned. Guo Huayan immediately smiled and said, because you are more beautiful in real life than in the photo. When everyone's attention is focused on you, no one will pay attention to me, the host. Lu Qin and Qin Fei couldn't help laughing. Guo Huayan was an interesting person and his jokes were very good. The most important thing was that he used standard Mandarin to talk to the two of them, not Cantonese. Lu Qin and Qin Fei were both from the mainland. This was a respectful attitude. Qin Fei smiled and said, I think Mr. Guo's humor is enough to make everyone ignore my existence. Guo Huayan laughed and said, Miss Qin is really good at joking, he said to the two of them apologetically. There are still many guests coming, so please excuse me. How about we talk later? Lu Qin smiled and said, Thank you. The overall layout of the Bell Tower bar was similar to that of many ordinary bars. It was divided into 2 floors with a performance stage suspended in the middle. However, because of the need to hold a salon, most of the tables and chairs had been removed and replaced with more comfortable sofas. Of course, there was a buffet table covered with a white tablecloth, on which all kinds of delicious food had been placed. Braised lamb with herbs, grilled filet steak, American-style fried bacon, fruit salad, cream cake. The silver tableware was very tempting, and the fragrance was simply mouth-watering. It was said that the independent dinner of the Bell Tower Music Salon was prepared by famous Western chefs in Hong Kong. The selection of ingredients was excellent, and the standards were quite high. Although it was not yet time for dinner, the buffet was probably prepared early to take care of the needs of the guests. There were already 20 or 30 guests in front of Lu Qin and Qin Fei. They were either sitting on the sofa in 2s or 3s, talking and laughing, or holding champagne or enjoying delicious food. The atmosphere was warm but not noisy. Lu Qin reached out and asked a waiter for 2 glasses of champagne, 1 for Qin Fei. Then he was going to find a place to sit. However, before he found a place, someone found him first. Lu Qin. Chapter 510. In the entertainment industry of Hong Kong, Lu Qin was a complete newcomer. Although he had gained considerable popularity and fame in Hong Kong with the song, The Love of My Life, and the incident of a Chinese ghost story, he could not be regarded as a real person in the entertainment circle. Therefore, even though Lu Qin had received the invitation to the Bell Tower Music Salon, he did not have any friends or acquaintances here, including the person who had taken the initiative to greet him. He had only met him once. However, Yi Xian's warm attitude made it easy for people to misunderstand that the two of them were friends who had known each other for many years. He smiled and said, I was just about to call you and ask when you would come over. As he spoke, his gaze fell on Qin Fei and he revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. This is your girlfriend Miss Qin Fei, right? According to the rules of the Bell Tower Music Salon, invited guests were allowed to bring a companion. A male companion, female companion, or assistant manager were all fine. Yi Xian had invited Lu Qin. He didn't expect Lu Qin to bring Qin Fei along. This made him, the inviter, feel very honored, and his smile became much more sincere. Lu Qin smiled and said, Yes, thank you for your invitation. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to participate in this music event. Fei, this is Mr. Yi Xian. Qin Fei smiled faintly and nodded. Hello, Mr. Yi. Hello, hello. Yi Xian became more and more enthusiastic, and there was even a hint of eagerness in his smile. This scene happened to be seen by a few young people who were chatting not far away. One of them, a thin man, curled his lips in disdain and said, This Yi Xian, he's even flattering people from the mainland. He's not afraid of losing face. One of his companions smiled and said, I've heard that Yi Xian intends to enter the mainland market. It's normal for him to flatter these two. As a local pop singer in Xiangjiang, Yi Xian's status wasn't high. He belonged to the 2nd or 3rd tier stars, but his talent were not bad. He could write lyrics, write songs, and play guitar, bass, and keyboard. He was quite popular with fans on many occasions. In terms of conduct, Yi Xian's personality was rather tactful. He never easily offended others, nor did he take the initiative to scheme against others. He didn't speak ill of others behind their backs, and he didn't act like a big shot. He would never have a temper. This made Yi Xian quite popular in the circle, which was why he was able to participate in the Bell Tower Music Salon so many times. However, in the eyes of many of the new idols in Xiangjiang's pop music world who pursued individuality, Yi Xian wasn't a big-shot senior that they could submit to, nor was he a peer that had a common topic with them. The thin man glanced at another tall and handsome young man and chuckled, Doe, that's Lu Qin who's filming a Chinese ghost story. He's your opponent, right? Aren't you going to say hello? He added meaningfully, Qin Fei is really beautiful. She's the heavenly queen of the mainland music industry. The young man named Dawei laughed and said, What the hell are you trying to do now? The thin man shrugged innocently and said, I'm not playing tricks, I'm just stating the facts. If you don't want to go, it doesn't matter. It's not like we're friends. Dawei curled his lips and expressed his contempt for the thin man's clumsy provocation. However, after pondering for a moment, he still picked up a glass of champagne and walked towards Lu Chen. Although he knew that his companion was deliberately provoking him, his pride made it impossible for him to retreat. Seeing that Dawei was really going to greet Lu Chen, the thin man's lips curled into a sly smile. He also picked up a glass of wine, gently shook it and said, "There's a good show to watch." The other two companions also laughed. "You're Lu Chen?" Dawei walked straight to Lu Chen and asked bluntly. Lu Chen, who was chatting with Yi Xian, was stunned. He didn't know who this slightly aggressive fellow was. The avant-garde dress, handsome appearance and not low height. The other party's age and image were the popular little fresh meat type in the entertainment industry, including the arrogance and confidence between his eyebrows. Yi Xian was still smooth and quickly introduced. "Lu Chen, this is Jiang Wei from Star Art Entertainment, the star of hope of our Hong Kong pop music industry. He has already released a music album in the past year." However, Lu Chen had never heard of Jiang Wei's name. He just nodded out of politeness and said, "Hello." The other party's attitude made Lu Chen unhappy, so his attitude could not be said to be enthusiastic. Is the star of hope of Hong Kong pop music very powerful? However, Lu Chen's cold attitude made Jiang Wei very unhappy, and what annoyed him was that Lu Chen did not have any reaction to his name, as if he did not exist in his eyes at all. As a new generation of idol artists in Hong Kong entertainment industry, this was the most intolerable thing for Jiang Wei. He raised his chin and said, "Please remember my name because I will be the one to defeat you." After saying that, Jiang Wei turned around and left. However, when he left, he couldn't help but take another look at Chen Feier. There were quite a few guests who had already arrived at the Bell Tower bar, including several female celebrities and socialites in the circle. There were also many guests who had brought their female companions, and there were quite a few beauties present. However, regardless of appearance or temperament, none of them could compare to Chen Feier. Jiang Wei was also a little tempted. However, as arrogant as he was, he would never choose this time to curry favor with Chen Feier. His provocation towards Lu Chen was also to leave a deep impression on Chen Feier. However, Chen Feier looked at the champagne glass in his hand with a smile on his face, as if he did not exist at all. Yi Xian, who introduced him to Jiang Wei, couldn't help but feel awkward. He said with a wry smile, "Jiang Wei he is the male lead of the new film Painted Skin, produced by Star Art Entertainment and Huaguan Pictures." As expected, Yi Xian never spoke ill of others behind their backs, even if the other party had just slapped him in the face. However, he pointed out Jiang Wei's other identity. Lu Chen suddenly understood. It turned out that he was really a competitor. No wonder he said he wanted to defeat him. Some time ago, due to the accident of the crew, Lu Chen specially asked Chen Wenxiang to collect information about the new movies that were being filmed in Xiangjiang at the same time and were interested in participating in the competition for the support policy. Know yourself and know your enemy and you will never be defeated. He had neglected this point in the past until the emergence of Huaguan Pictures. In this circle, most of the time, it was not just about doing your own thing, but also about paying attention to your opponent's movements. Only in this way can you make targeted adjustments at any time and make yourself invincible. Among the opponent information that Chen Wenxiang had collected, the new film Painted Skin, produced by Star Art Entertainment and Huaguan Pictures was undoubtedly the most important, because this film was undoubtedly the biggest competitor of A Chinese Ghost Story. It was true that enemies would not meet unless they met. Lu Chen did not expect to meet the male lead of Painted Skin at the music salon. He finally remembered Jiang Wei's name. The entertainment circle of Xiangjiang was really small. Chapter 511. Strategically, one had to look down on the enemy and tactically, one had to pay attention to the enemy. Although Lu Chen has strong confidence in A Chinese Ghost Story, which he led, he will never underestimate any opponent, especially a highly competitive film of the same type like Painted Skin. The Painted Skin was a heavy investment by Huaguan Pictures into Xiangjiang. This film adaptation of Strange Tales from a Chinese studio claimed to have a total investment of more than 100 million yuan, a strong cast, and a large number of popular stars from both sides of the Taiwan Strait. It was also said that the post-production special effects were signed to Xiangjiang's New Visual Imaging. New Visual Imaging was a famous film and television post-production special effects company in Xiangjiang. Its founder had worked in a large special effects company in Hollywood for 10 years and had accumulated rich experience. He returned to Xiangjiang to start a business and recruited a large number of professional talents. He participated in the production of many blockbusters in Xiangjiang and the mainland, and had a good reputation in the industry. The director of The Painted Skin, Ding Tai, had won 2 Best Director awards at the Xiangjiang Film Awards. Huaguan Pictures and Star Art Entertainment had teamed up and made such a big move. They had invested so much in The Painted Skin, so Cui Xingxian naturally could not allow himself to fail. He was determined to get the green passage. He had mobilized a large number of people to make a movie in Xiangjiang. Of course, it was not just for Xiangjiang's film support policy, but also to expand the film market in Xiangjiang, and at the same time to Taiwan and Southeast Asia. This was an important part of Huaguan Pictures' plan to go south. Under such circumstances, Lu Chen's A Chinese Ghost Story had naturally become a rather conspicuous stumbling block. If Lu Chen was just an unknown newcomer, Cui Xingxian would not care at all. He could directly crush him with his work. However, Lu Chen was now a hot star in the country. The great success of his 2 TV series made him a well-known existence in the film and television industry. Cui Xingxian could not ignore him. Most importantly, Lu Chen's second TV series, Full House of Romance, once defeated a strong opponent with a weak one, and made Xiangnan Satellite TV almost lose face. Tian, Romantic House, when Full of Romance first aired, Shonen TV's annual drama, Sea of Love, was competing with it in terms of viewership ratings. As a result, the latter was forced to change its broadcast time to avoid the spotlight. With such a vivid example in the past, Cui Xingxian naturally regarded Lu Chen as the #1 threat. Even if A Chinese Ghost Story was big and weaker than The Painted Skin in terms of investment and cast, he did not dare to let his guard down. If he repeated the mistakes of Sea of Love, Cui Xingxian would be in big trouble. The TV could still change the broadcast time, but it was impossible to change the movie when it was released. It would be a crushing defeat. It was precisely because Cui Xingxian valued Lu Chen, coupled with personal emotional factors, that the incident of Honghua harassing A Chinese Ghost Story happened. Although Cui Xingxian's claws had been cut off cleanly, he obviously would not let it go. If he couldn't do it in the dark, then he would do it openly. Now Huaguan Pictures and Star Art Entertainment had recognized A Chinese Ghost Story as their #1 opponent and had arranged a corresponding publicity plan. This was the root cause of Jiang Wei's provocation towards Lu Chen. Yi Xian had a little understanding of such complicated internal affairs, but he had no intention of getting involved. He cleverly changed the topic and chatted with Lu Chen about the theme of this salon. Since its inception, the Bell Tower Music Salon had been successfully held hundreds of times. Almost all the big shots in the Hong Kong pop music world had participated in it, so it had a great influence in the industry. According to the convention, every music salon had a topic for discussion. The topic could be very broad or very focused, such as the development trend of Chinese pop music or the style evolution of Cantonese love songs. A free and relaxed discussion atmosphere was the characteristic of the Bell Tower Music Salon. And the theme of today's music salon was a little big: the past, present and future of Hong Kong pop music. To be honest, such a big topic was enough to write a thick collection of essays. As the founder of Chinese pop music, Hong Kong pop music had too many things to say. Of course, Yi Xian knew that this topic was too big and he couldn't explain it clearly in a short time, so he didn't talk about the past and future of Hong Kong pop music. He only talked about the present, indicating that he wanted to hear Lu Chen's opinion. Even outsiders could see the dilemma that Hong Kong's pop music industry was facing. However, it was undoubtedly very difficult to break out of the trap. As the saying goes, the onlookers are confused. Perhaps an excellent musician from the mainland like Lu Chen might be able to give some useful advice. Perhaps it was because this topic had piqued the interest of the guests in the salon. Soon many people gathered around. Some were serious out of good intentions, while others were not so kind and were ready to nitpick. Although most of the people present had met Lu Chen for the first time, they basically knew where Lu Chen came from. This young artist from the mainland had been in the limelight in Hong Kong recently. In the face of all kinds of gazes from around, Lu Chen was a little speechless. Yi Xian had given him a big topic. If he really talked about it, he wouldn't be able to finish it even after a few days and nights. Hong Kong pop music started in the middle and late 1970s. Japanese songs began to be popular in the Hong Kong music industry. Like the economic status of Hong Kong, it entered a period of rapid rise. It was common for popular singers to release 2 or 3 songs a year. Due to the lack of local composers, Japanese songs and Cantonese lyrics became a trend, and there were also a number of singing stars who became famous by covering songs until the 1980s. In the 1980s, Hong Kong was innocent and bright, and had a beautiful fantasy of the future. The times were rumbling forward and everything was not worth mentioning. In the middle and late 1980s, people in Hong Kong began to emphasize emotional consumption. Everyone pursued a unique personal style and tried to get rid of single consumption to show personal taste. This social trend of thought brought new demands, including pop music. Covers of Japanese songs and Cantonese lyrics could no longer meet the appreciation needs of the majority of fans. Record companies began to pay attention to original works and recruited a large number of professional songwriters. As a result, Hong Kong pop music entered a new period of development. Good songs and classics emerged one after another, and a large number of them were imported to the mainland, which had a huge impact on the mainland pop music. The 1980s and 1990s were the golden age of Hong Kong pop music. The heavenly king and queen of the singing industry each led the coquettish, songwriters emerged one after another, and hundreds of flowers competed for beauty. However, in the new century, Hong Kong pop music gradually could not keep up with the times. The heavenly king and queen gradually aged, and the songwriters lacked inspiration. The new generation of singers and artists learned from Japanese and Korean stars and embarked on the path of idols. History seemed to be reincarnating. In the current Hong Kong pop music world, imitation and plagiarism became the trend. However, the imitation and cover targets increased from Japan to Europe, America, Japan, and South Korea. Singers no longer relied on selling albums to make money. It was mainstream for celebrities and singers to sell their looks and looks. This was where the interests of the major entertainment media companies lay, so how could they abandon this good way to make money? As for the Hong Kong pop music world, who cared about life and death? There was a dilemma, and it was difficult to break it. The current situation of Hong Kong's pop music world had many similarities with that of the mainland. How could Lu Qin have the ability to break the predicament with bold words? But if he did not say anything or only said something in general, he would be looked down upon. After thinking about it, Lu Qin decided to say something. Chapter 5:12. I think that in terms of original pop music, Xiangjiang should learn from the mainland. Lu Qin didn't say much at the beginning, but as soon as he opened his mouth, it caused an uproar. Some of the Xiangjiang musicians who gathered around to listen to the excitement were dumbfounded, some sneered disdainfully, some were thoughtful, and some were furious. Many people thought that Lu Qin's words were ridiculous. For a long time in the past, excluding niche types of music such as national rock, the mainland pop music had always been the imitator and follower of Xiangjiang pop music. The latter had a huge influence on the former. From the late 1990s to the beginning of the new century, many Xiangjiang musicians went north to develop, which greatly promoted the development of mainland pop music. Therefore, to some extent, it was not an exaggeration to say that Xiangjiang was the teacher of the mainland in terms of pop music. Although Xiangjiang's pop music had declined, it was impossible for them, the local musicians of Xiangjiang, to say that Xiangjiang should learn from the mainland. Especially since this sentence came from the mouth of Lu Qin, a singer-artist from the mainland. For a moment, the crowd was in an uproar and there was a somewhat tense atmosphere. If it wasn't for the basic courtesy of social occasions, someone would have already come out and scolded Lu Qin loudly. Such a scene made Yi Xian, who started the topic, secretly complain. He didn't expect Lu Qin to be so straightforward, causing him to fall into a rather awkward situation. Fortunately, Yi Xian was also somewhat quick-witted, so he simply continued the topic. Why do you say that? If the conversation between the two of them was regarded as a crosstalk, then Yi Xian was undoubtedly playing the role of a supporting character. This way he could take away the firepower and make others pay more attention to Lu Qin, and forget about him, the culprit. Lu Qin smiled and said, because in some aspects the mainland is indeed doing better than Xiangjiang. His voice was not loud and it was even quite gentle, but his words were filled with unshakable confidence. In fact, domestic pop music is also facing a similar problem as Hong Kong. Plagiarism and imitation are common, and local original works are dispirited and deeply influenced by Japan, South Korea, Europe, and the United States. However, many domestic musicians have long been aware of this problem and have made changes in many aspects. The simplest example is that in the past 2 years, domestic music talent shows have paid more and more attention to originality, and even launched programs such as Super Singer, and so on. Although the producer of Super Singer is Shonen TV, and there are strong commercial interests behind supporting the original work, Lu Qin is still supportive of the program itself. Because it could allow many outstanding singers and composers to stand out and condense the power of original music. Moreover, the treatment of domestic songwriters has been greatly improved. With the recovery of the pop music market, capable songwriters are becoming more and more popular with entertainment agencies. In contrast, the entertainment industry in Xinjiang is complacent and has no courage and determination to change the status quo. They are obsessed with playing the leftovers from Europe, the United States, Japan and South Korea. They frequently launch idol artists to hype and publicize, stare at the pockets of young people in Xinjiang and never take originality seriously. Especially in Xinjiang's talent show, Miss Xinjiang, Miss Asia, Idol Awards and so on occupy the mainstream. It looks lively and glorious, but after taking off the gorgeous and noisy coat, what's left inside? Lu Qin said bluntly, "When I was a child I listened to a lot of excellent and classic Cantonese songs, but now I still listen to those old songs." Isn't this the problem of Xinjiang pop music in terms of originality? Many people around fell into silence because what Lu Qin said was completely true, and they could not refute it. Some people were not convinced and asked, "Is the original work in the mainland really better than in Xinjiang?" Lu Qin smiled and said, "I'm not modest to say that it's true. I'll take myself as an example. I'm also a songwriter. At present, my personal studio's offer to the public is 1 million yuan per work. 1 million yuan per song." There was a sudden sound of light exclamations and gasps around, because this price was completely beyond their expectations. It should be known that the best songwriter in Xinjiang, Ouyang Durong, was only around 300,000 yuan for a song. The height determines the thickness and level. With Lu Qin as a benchmark, the value of the original work in the mainland must not be low, at least far beyond the level of Xinjiang. Someone muttered doubtfully, "Is it true or not?" When Lu Qin first came to Xinjiang when he attended a charity auction, he took out a work as an auction item and sold it at a high price of 1 million yuan. This matter was also spread in the circle, but not many people took it seriously because many charity auctions were just hype. A so-called modern art painting with random graffiti could be sold for tens of millions of yuan. Everyone in the industry was well aware of the trickery involved. But now that Lu Qin said it himself, it was different. If he bragged, he would become a joke in the circle. "Of course it's true." Someone answered for Lu Qin decisively, "Mr. Lu Qin is the most outstanding music composer in the mainland. As far as I know, his studio's work has been arranged until 2018, and he has temporarily stopped booking." Everyone's eyes were focused on the other party. Madame Jean. It was Jean Mingxiu, the boss of Madame Jin's entertainment company, who came forward to testify for Lu Qin. The doubters were suddenly speechless. Jean Mingxiu was born in a famous family. When she was in her 20s, she founded an entertainment company, involved in the production of movies and TV variety shows, and trained artists and singers. For decades, she had sent a large number of talents to the entertainment industry in Xinjiang. Famous actors Lu Jian, Gu Rong, singers Gao Mingfeng, Li Li and so on were all taught by Madame Jean. In the entertainment industry in Xinjiang, she was definitely at the top. Although she did not have the status of a superstar, any superstar or queen would give her some face. Her testimony naturally carried a lot of weight. Jean Mingxiu ignored the surprised eyes around her and said to Lu Qin with a smile, "Lu Qin, long time no see." Then this famous figure in the entertainment industry in Xinjiang walked forward and held Qin Feier's little hand, with a look of surprise as if they had not met for a long time. "Feier, you are getting more and more beautiful." Qin Feier grinned and said, "Sister Jean, you are getting younger and younger." Madame Jean shook her head. "Don't make fun of Sister Jean. If I had known that you two were invited to participate in the salon, I would have come earlier." Holding Qin Feier's hand, she looked around and said seriously, "I just listened to a few words and I feel that what Mr. Lu Qin said is very reasonable. The current situation of Xinjiang's pop music needs us to work together to change it. It's not enough to just talk. We need action. I suggest that we create a competition to encourage and support original music. It's not a problem to use the form of a real talent show. As long as we can let Xinjiang's pop music and Cantonese songs regain their glory, it will be worth it no matter how much we pay." Madame Jin's aura was undoubtedly strong. As soon as she appeared, she attracted everyone's attention and also pulled the topic caused by Lu Qin to a higher level. Chapter 513. The Bell Tower Music Salon was a gathering of Hong Kong musicians, but the invitees were not limited to Hong Kong musicians. In addition to singers and songwriters, there were also many executives in the media and entertainment industry. But in Hong Kong's pan-entertainment industry, they undoubtedly stood in a high-level position. The atmosphere in the music salon was very relaxed, and there were not many rules and regulations. The initiator of the salon would choose a theme, and then the participants would be free to express themselves, talk, discuss, and even give impromptu speeches or performances on the stage. The theme of the exchange would never change. However, it was rare for Mrs. Jean to make a clear and unambiguous proposal here. And this proposal was very sensitive to everyone. Since the beginning of the new century, the domestic entertainment industry had developed rapidly. Influenced by the entertainment trend in Europe, the United States, Japan, and South Korea, domestic reality talent shows had emerged one after another. Although there were many voices of criticism, a large number of talent show stars had emerged, and many of them were eventually promoted to A-list positions. Many artists from Hong Kong's Treasure Island were envious of them and rushed to the mainland to fight for their lives. On the surface, it seemed that Hong Kong's entertainment industry did not care much about this, and even a little disdainful. But in fact, many entertainment media companies had cooperated with Hong Kong TV stations to launch talent shows and singing competitions, but they either ended in failure or embarrassment, and did not have much influence. The reasons were the lack of capital investment, the poor publicity of the TV stations, and so on. The most typical example was the judges of talent shows. Their appearance fees were often very low, and it was difficult to attract the real big stars to participate, or even if they participated, they would not work hard. As for the rewards won by the winner, it was not worth mentioning compared to the winner of the domestic talent show. All kinds of problems made Hong Kong's talent shows, except for Miss Hong Kong and Miss Asia, were not good enough, and had no influence in the mainland at all. Therefore, although Mrs. Jin's proposal was lofty, it instantly caused an awkward silence. Everyone looked at each other, not knowing what to say directly. They each had their own positions and each represented their own interests. It was really unrealistic to want to unite and organize a talent show with the theme of encouraging and supporting original music. Mrs. Jin's idea was a little too idealistic. It was not that they did not want to give face to Mrs. Jean, but this matter was really too complicated. There were few people who agreed. Madame Jean sighed to herself when she saw this scene. A look of disappointment flashed across her eyes. The influence of the Bell Tower Music Salon in Hong Kong's entertainment circle was constantly weakening, which had a lot to do with the fact that most of the participants could only talk and did not know how to act. Now it had basically become a social gathering within the circle. What's the difference between this and other gatherings? She had been in the entertainment industry for decades and knew the current situation in the industry like the back of her hand. Just now, after listening to Lu Chen's words, she couldn't help but stand up and really wanted to do something for Hong Kong pop music. The result was still so disappointing. Lu Chen said, "I think Jin's suggestion is very good. Lu Chen's studio is willing to contribute to it." Madame Jean smiled gratefully at Lu Chen, who helped her out. It was a pity that Lu Chen came from the mainland and was destined not to belong to Xiangjiang, otherwise, count me in. At this moment, a warm and mellow voice rang out from the crowd. Who is it? Everyone could understand why Lu Chen supported Madame Jean. After all, the latter had just supported the former and the two were supporting each other. But who agreed with Madame Jean's unreliable idea? Everyone wanted to see. As a result, everyone was dumbfounded. The person who said, "Count me in," looked like he was in his 40s. He was not tall and had a faint smile on his face, but no one present dared to look down on him. Because this middle-aged man was the top big shot in Hong Kong's entertainment circle, the most popular heavenly king, Lu Gangxing. No one expected that Lu Gangxing would also participate in this music salon, but it was actually normal for him to appear here, because Lu Gangxing was one of the founders of the Bell Tower Music Salon. At that time, the young Lu Gangxing was already one of the leading figures in Hong Kong's pop music world. The head of the heavenly king, the chief idol of Asia, Hong Kong's non-official justice of the peace, and Asian superstar. There were too many titles and honors on this person. The voice he made, in a sense, represented the will of Hong Kong's entertainment circle, which no one could compare with. Brother Xing. Hong Kong student. Mr. Lu. Whether in the entertainment circle or outside, regardless of their status, everyone present greeted Lu Gangxing. Lu Gangxing responded to them one by one with a smile. Under everyone's gaze, he walked in front of Lu Chen and took the initiative to reach out to the latter. Hello. Lu Chen quickly shook his hand. Hello, Brother Hua. This was one of his idols when he was a child. Today was the first time he saw him in person, so he was really excited. Lu Gangxing said with a smile, "I'm here today to see a music genius like you. I'm not disappointed." There were low exclamations of surprise around. A music genius. Lu Gangxing's evaluation of Lu Chen was very high. Lu Chen said modestly, "Brother Hua, you flatter me. I still have a lot to learn from you." Lu Gangxing nodded with a smile and looked at Qin Fei. Miss Chen, we meet again. Qin Fei reached out and said, Hello, Brother Hua. She was a heavenly queen of the pop music world in the mainland, but in terms of influence she was not as influential as this person in front of her. The two had met when they participated in a large-scale cultural performance. Finally, Lu Gangxing looked at Mrs. Jean and said, Sister Jean, you will organize this competition. I can spare some time to be a judge. Mrs. Jean was pleasantly surprised. Thank you, Hong Kong student. The two were old acquaintances, but they could not be regarded as real friends. Lu Gangxing came out to support her, obviously not because of this shallow friendship, but because of his support and love for Hong Kong's pop music. If Mrs. Jin's previous proposal was just a flashy idea, then now with Lu Gangxing's participation, the idea suddenly became practical and highly operable. Many people's minds suddenly became active. Lu Gangxing looked at Lu Chen again and said, Lu Chen, since Sister Jin's idea is because of you, you can think of a name for this pop music competition, and I also hope that you can be one of the judges. In an instant, it was as if another bomb had exploded in the crowd and many people were shocked. Chapter 5:14. Hong Kong has two major wireless channels, Xiangjiang Satellite TV and Asia Television, and more than a dozen small and medium-sized cable channels. Every year, there are countless variety entertainment programs, including various reality talent competitions. However, there has never been a competition specifically for original pop music, so Mrs. Jin's previous proposal was not approved by many people, and they felt that she was a bit whimsical. However, Lu Gangxing's support and participation suddenly made this whimsical idea very operable. If he was willing to serve as a judge, I'm afraid that both the satellite TV and ATV would rush to host it. It should be known that as the top big shot in Hong Kong's entertainment industry, Lu Gangxing rarely appeared in variety shows. At most, he appeared in high-end interview programs. His firm attitude made people speculate that the Heavenly King might have the same idea. What really surprised people was not Lu Gangxing's attitude, but his appreciation for Lu Chen. In the circle, Lu Gangxing has always had a good reputation for being willing to promote newcomers. Many popular stars have been recommended and recognized by him. However, his appreciation for Lu Chen was obviously beyond the ordinary level. Letting Lu Chen name the competition and sincerely inviting Lu Chen to be a judge was tantamount to elevating Lu Chen to almost the same position as him. What did a young artist from the mainland do to make Heavenly King Lu favor him so much? Looking at Lu Chen, there were shock, doubt, jealousy, and scorching eyes that seemed to be able to melt gold and iron. If it was any other Xiangjiang artist, even if they were unknown before, as long as the news spread out, they would definitely be on the prominent position of the major entertainment sections and even the headlines, becoming famous overnight. It was like a big pie falling from the sky. Lu Chen himself was also very surprised and even felt a little incredulous, but he saw true appreciation and sincerity in Lu Gangxing's eyes. Thank you, Brother Xing, Lu Chen pondered for a moment and said, then I'll start with a name. How about Xiangjiang New Voice? Xiangjiang New Voice? Lu Gangxing's eyes lit up, nodded and praised, this name is good, easy to understand, and has a good meaning. What do you think about using Hong Kong New Voice? Since Lao Tianwang had already acknowledged and praised it, who wouldn't give him face? Moreover, the name was indeed not bad. It was straightforward and catchy, which was very good for publicity. Not bad, not bad. Xiangjiang New Voice, good name. I agree. They looked at Lu Chen with increasingly scorching eyes. If the original music talent contest Hong Kong New Voice could really be held and succeeded, Lu Chen would undoubtedly engrave his name in the history of Hong Kong pop music and leave an indelible mark in the Hong Kong pop music world. Lu Gangxing was very satisfied. Since everyone supports it, let's use this name. Ba, ba, ba. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a warm round of applause. More and more guests gathered around Lu Chen and Lu Gangxing. Almost all the people in the circle had gathered here. When they learned the ins and outs of the matter, they all felt as if they had witnessed history. Lu Chen said, I have a suggestion. I think the standard of Hong Kong New Voice must be the highest, and we can't be stingy in terms of rewards. Therefore, on behalf of Lu Chen Studio, I will donate 5 million yuan as the competition reward fund. One of the characteristics of Hong Kong talent shows was that the rewards were quite stingy. Even the most popular Hong Kong sister and Asian sister would not receive more than 1 million yuan as the reward for the champion. At most, it was just a reputation reward. As for other ordinary talent shows, it was already very good to give tens of thousands of yuan. The invited guests and judges could only get a notice fee, which was completely incomparable to the situation in the mainland. The theme of Hong Kong New Voice was to encourage and support original works. If there were no generous rewards, how could it attract more powerful and talented singers and authors to participate enthusiastically? It was not enough to rely on Lu Gongxing's reputation alone. As the saying goes, there will always be brave men under great rewards. However, his good proposal made many people present a little embarrassed. Everyone knew their own situation. How could people in the circle not know the morality of Hong Kong TV station? Lu Gangxing said with a smile, "Then Hong Kong Xing Media will donate 10 million yuan. Hong Kong Xing Media was Lu Gangxing's own company. It was basically similar to a studio but on a larger scale. Lu Chen had donated 5 million yuan. As a top big shot in Hong Kong's entertainment circle and a superstar in the pop music world, it was impossible for him to donate less than Lu Chen. 10 million yuan. Everyone present knew that Lu Gangxing was serious this time, because he had never spoken a lie. Madame Jean then said with a smile, "Then Madame Jean Entertainment will also support 5 million yuan. That would be 20 million yuan. Even as a reward fund, this number was quite dazzling, not to mention that it was just the beginning. Many people could not stand it anymore and immediately followed suit. Oriental Records will support 1 million yuan. I personally support 500,000 yuan. Chen's Media will support 1 million yuan. We, Chen Fei, said with a smile, I personally support 2 million yuan. Just the total amount of people who donated and supported on the spot had steadily exceeded 50 million yuan. There were still many people who needed to report to their respective companies, and the amount would definitely increase later. This music salon with the theme of the past, present and future of Hong Kong's pop music, turned out to be a fundraising meeting for an original talent competition, which made people more or less not know whether to laugh or cry. However, if one were to look at the essence from the surface, even though such a situation was largely accidental, there was also an inevitable element in the unseen world. That was the musicians of Hong Kong. They were worried about the present and future of Hong Kong's pop music. They were also seeking change and exploration. The appearance of Hong Kong new singing was just in time. There was also a reason that most people could not say, and that was to learn from the mainland. We ATV are willing to host Hong Kong new singing with high standards. At this time, a middle-aged man squeezed out of the crowd and said loudly, I guarantee that it will be the same standard as Sister Ye's selection. Everyone recognized that this middle-aged man was Lu Hanyang, the music director of ATV's variety channel. Haha, how can Sister Ye compare to Sister Hong? Before he finished speaking, another slightly hoarse voice immediately sounded, such a program should naturally be hosted by our satellite TV for the best effect. The person who opposed Lu Hanyang was a short and strong man. And this person was the producer of Hong Kong satellite TV music channel, Li Mingyuan. Chapter 515. In the traditional media circle of Xiangjiang, Xiangjiang Satellite TV and ATV were undoubtedly the real enemies. The feud between the two wireless hegemons could be traced back decades, and the entanglement could be made into a long drama of hundreds of episodes. The competition between them had been running through the history of Xiangjiang's screen. It was normal for the guests attending the Bell Tower Music Salon to include people from satellite TV and ATV. Whether it was the music director of ATV Variety Channel, Lu Hanyang, or the producer of satellite TV music channel, Li Mingyuan, they could all be regarded as part of Xiangjiang's pop music scene. As musicians, none of them were fools to be able to sit in their respective positions today. From the topic of Lu Chen to Madame Jin's idea, to Lu Gangxing's expression of support, it finally evolved into a grand event of Xiangjiang's musicians. Lu Hanyang and Li Mingyuan were keenly aware of the smell of opportunity. When it came to variety shows, satellite TV and ATV were the best organizers. Every year, the ratings of satellite TV's Hong Kong Sister Selection and ATV's Asian Sister Selection had never been lower than 20%. However, it was an indisputable fact that the ratings of the two big sisters were decreasing year by year. Last year, the ratings of the semi-finals of the Hong Kong Sister Selection once touched the bottom line of 20%. Xiangjiang Satellite TV spent a lot of effort and resources to finally not break the red line. The situation of the Asian Sister Selection was not much better. The reason was very simple. Under the impact of the internet, the traditional media did not have a good time. After decades of Hong Kong Sister Selection, there were no new tricks to play, and the audience began to feel aesthetic fatigue. Under such circumstances, seeking innovation and change became the pursuit of the program producers of the two major wireless stations. Xiangjiang New Singing was undoubtedly an excellent program. It had ideas, a source of funding, and the support of a heavenly king like Lu Gangxing, it was difficult to fail. It was like a golden hen that had just jumped out of the wild. Who wouldn't want to carry it home? Lu Hanyang and Li Mingyuan suddenly became aggressive roosters, staring at each other and not giving in. If they missed the production of this promising talent competition, it would be hard for anyone to explain it when they went back. The smell of gunpowder between the two was getting stronger and stronger. Lu Gangxing, who was very experienced, smiled and helped them out of the predicament. Don't argue for the time being. Right now, Hong Kong New Voice is just a preliminary idea. It's better for you to make a plan first and then show it to everyone. Whoever's plan is better will be chosen. What do you think? Heavenly King Lu deserved to be called Heavenly King Lu. He easily solved the dispute between the two of them and also set up a new benchmark for Hong Kong New Voice. Big increase in operability. Whether it was the satellite TV or ATV, whichever plan was better would be chosen. The supporters of the project would vote on the plan, which was fair and reasonable. Lu Hanyang and Li Mingyuan had nothing to say, and the guests present all applauded in agreement. No one knew who started it, but warm applause sounded in the bar again, because everyone had witnessed the birth of a grand event in the pop music world of Xiangjiang, which was likely to change the future of the music world of Xiangjiang. Lu Qin, Qin Fei, Lu Gangxing and Madame Jean were surrounded by everyone. The applause was for them. Some of the people around them were well-known singers in the music world, some were seniors in the industry and some were senior executives in the media. People like Yi Xian couldn't even squeeze into the top two circles. As for Jiang Wei, who had previously said that he would defeat Lu Qin, he could only shrink in the corner with a few friends. Compared to Lu Gangxing, they were not even as good as the stars under the bright moon. Lu Gangxing's appreciation for Lu Qin made Jiang Wei's previous provocation seem extremely ridiculous. At this time, the host of the music salon, Guo Huaiyan, finally appeared. He said with a smile, "Everyone, our chef has prepared today's special delicacies for you. Talking is important, but eating is equally important." One of the traditions of the Bell Tower Music Salon was that there was a reception dinner, which was usually a Western-style buffet. The chefs were famous chefs in Xiangjiang, and these Western-style chefs would take out their best works during the mealtime. The atmosphere at the scene suddenly became relaxed. Everyone chatted and laughed as they went to taste the delicacies. Lu Gangxing said to Lu Qin, "How about we eat something first and then we sit down and talk?" Lu Qin said with a smile, "That's exactly what I want." Lu Gangxing looked like he was only in his 40s. He had a face that could leave a deep impression on people. He was handsome and resolute, and had the maturity and confidence of the years. In fact, this king of Xiangjiang was already 54 years old. In this superstar, Lu Qin saw the shadow of Tan Hong. The two were very similar in many ways. They were also the strongest in their respective fields. They had won so many awards that they lost interest. However, Tan Hong had chosen to retire early, and Lu Gangxing was active in the singing and film circles. However, fame and fortune were not important to this king of Xiangjiang. He sincerely wanted to do something for the pop music of Xiangjiang and wanted to save the Cantonese pop song that was currently in danger. This was the most important reason why Lu Gangxing appreciated Lu Qin. It was because he saw the future hope of Chinese pop music in Lu Qin. For Lu Qin, it was really wonderful to be able to communicate with his idol in his youth like this. There was a kind of fulfillment of a dream that exceeded his wish. "I really hope that you can stay in Xiangjiang," the king of Xiangjiang said to Lu Qin very seriously, "create more and better Cantonese songs. If you can't stay, please create more Cantonese works in the future. A good song like The Love of My Life." Lu Qin nodded and replied solemnly, "I will work hard." Lu Gangxing smiled and gave Lu Qin his personal business card. "You can look for me at any time if you need anything." Lu Gangxing rarely gave his personal business card to others, except for his real friends. Madame Jean said with a smile, "I'll take a picture of you as a souvenir." Lu Gangxing, who was about to leave, readily agreed. Not only did he take a picture with Lu Qin, but he also took several pictures with Qin Fei, and the other three. Then, several of the photos were uploaded to his blog by Qin Fei, with his mobile phone. It immediately caused a lot of sensation in her and Lu Chen's fan circle. Heavenly King Lu. Two new and old handsome guys taking a picture together, so cool. Could it be that Lu Gangxing will also make a cameo appearance in the new movie? I like him very much. My Qin is so talented, Heavenly King Lu must appreciate it very much. I look forward to the cooperation between my Qin, Fei and Heavenly King Lu. Cooperation +1. No matter how much the internet was buzzing for Lu Qin, the Bell Tower Music Salon was undoubtedly a key step for him to integrate into the Xiangjiang entertainment circle. 2 days later, Qin Fei, who had finished all the filming of A Chinese Ghost Story, left Xiangjiang. As a result, Lu Chen's first movie entered a rapid sprint. On December 29, A Chinese Ghost Story was officially completed. Chapter 516. On November 25, Lu Chen's first movie, A Chinese Ghost Story, officially started shooting at the old site of the Fain Temple in the Lion Rock Film and Television City in Hong Kong. On December 29, A Chinese Ghost Story was officially completed. All in all, it only took slightly more than a month. During that period, filming was stopped for a few days due to an accident. This speed and efficiency was considered very high because A Chinese Ghost Story was not a shoddy fast food movie. In this movie, Lu Chen played many roles as director, male lead, screenwriter, and arranger. In order to make A Chinese Ghost Story, the hard work he put in was not something ordinary people could imagine. Especially in the later stages of filming, in order to catch up with the progress, Lu Chen often filmed from morning to night. He ate and lived on the set of the Lion Rock Film and Television City. It was common for him to stay up all night. Lu Chen had personally hand-drawn dozens of scripts. Together with Wan Xiaoquan and the art designers of the crew, the number of scripts was even more. Many of the script drawings were derived from his memory of the original, A Chinese Ghost Story in the Dream World. This made the shooting of the movie simpler and more accurate. Big also reduced the number of NGs during the shooting process. Many of the scenes were done in one go, which was why they could be completed in such a short period of time. However, finishing did not mean that it was over. The post-production special effects, editing, dubbing, and soundtrack were all very complicated work, especially in terms of special effects. It was normal for many blockbusters to take a year and a half to make special effects. Of course, there were not that many special effects for A Chinese Ghost Story, because more of the real scenes and props were used during the shooting process. However, the budget for special effects was not low. Lu Chen was not sure if it could be released in early February 2017. However, he could only hand over all the work to Wan Xiaoquan for the time being and flew back to Beijing. That was because December 31st was the day of the Global Chinese Original Songs Award ceremony. Lu Chen could not miss this music event no matter what. The Global Chinese Original Songs Chart was formed by the reorganization and merger of the Asian Chinese Music Chart and the Chinese Original Music Chart. Its standard was unparalleled in the Chinese music circle and far surpassed other Chinese music awards. Just look at the organizers of the Global Chinese Top Songs Chart: the Chinese Music Association, China Central Television, China Central Radio, and the Voice of China. There were 5 that started with the word medium, and the other joint organizations were even more dazzling. Any one of them was a well-known brand name. The first Global Chinese Top Original Songs Chart of 2016 was held at the National Grand Theatre. It was broadcasted live to the world by CCTV Variety Channel and Music Channel. In this grand ceremony of Chinese music, Lu Chen was undoubtedly one of the most prominent stars. In total, he was nominated for Best Male Singer, Best Album, Best Lyrics, and Best Composition. In addition, he was also nominated for Best Producer and Media Recommendation. In addition, Qin Fei was also nominated for Best Female Singer, Best Album, Best Stage Performance, and Media Recommendation. Among them, Best Album and Media Recommendation were in direct competition with Lu Chen. As the award ceremony approached, the blog had been flooded with the topic of the Top Original Songs Chart. The star singers of the domestic pop music industry took the lead to appear on the internet, making the topic extremely hot. Among them, the lovers' competition between Lu Chen and Qin Fei was undoubtedly a hot topic among the big topics. Especially for the best album, the fans were mainly divided into 3 factions. One faction supported Lu Chen, one faction supported Qin Fei, and the other faction was happy no matter who won the award. The best album must be My Phase. Which album in 2016 can compare with Woman Flower? Isn't Woman Flower My Chen's credit? The best album is not the best lyrics and best composition. It doesn't matter who wrote the song, understand? Personally, I think the overall quality of The Ordinary Road is better than Woman Flower. The best album doesn't mean it's the best-selling album, so I bet on Lu Chen to win. I support Qin Fei. She sang so well. I love Woman Flower and Sea of Faces. Stop arguing. Whether it's The Ordinary Road or Woman Flower, I support them both. According to the selection rules of the Global Chinese Top Original Songs Chart, There were at most 5 nominees for an award and only one winner. There would be no double yolk eggs, or triple yolk eggs, that people could not complain about. Therefore the awards were very valuable. The high value also meant that the competition was fierce. It was said that it took the organizing committee a whole month to determine the nominees for the 24 awards of the Chinese Top Original Songs chart. As the biggest event of the year for Chinese pop bands, the Chinese Top Original Songs chart not only meant the highest glory of the Chinese pop music industry, but also rich benefits, such as high bonuses and official recommendations. Have you ever thought about how many awards you'll get? At night, in the love nest built by the two of them in the Zhejiang district of the capital, Lu Qin, who had just flown back from Hong Kong, was leaning against the bed and reading the blog on his tablet. Chen Fei, who was wearing a nightgown, lay lazily on Lu Chen's body and naughtily used her hair to tickle his ear. She asked while tickling him, 2, 3, 4. Today was the first time for the two of them to meet in more than half a month. After their passionate love, they turned their attention back to the global Chinese Top Original Songs chart that would be held the night after tomorrow. Chen Fei returned to the capital yesterday. She had not finished shooting all the scenes in Xingshi Longsong, but because she got 4 nominations for the Top Original Songs chart, the director happily gave her a leave. In the pop music industry, Chen Fei was also a person who had won many awards, but she was particularly interested in the first global Chinese Top Original Songs chart. She had another goal to strive for. Lu Qin said with a wry smile, "You think too highly of me. To be honest, I'm very satisfied if I can get one." Lu Qin was not pretending to be modest but his real thoughts. Although he got 6 nominations on the Chinese Top Original Songs chart and was unparalleled among the younger generation of musicians, he faced strong competition for every award he was nominated for. It was still unknown who would win the award. Nominations and awards were two different things. In many music and film awards, it was common to hold a lot of nominations but get nothing in the end. The reasons involved were very complicated. Therefore, Lu Qin did not get carried away by the 6 nominations. He set his goal very low. He typed his answer on the keyboard and replied to a blog fan who asked the same question. Chapter 517. My goal is to win a prize. 9 o'clock in the evening is the peak time for netizens to surf the internet. In addition, mobile internet has become the mainstream trend, so as the largest social media in China, Wave's blog naturally has a high number of users. When Lu Chen's reply was sent out, it immediately attracted the attention of countless fans. Lu Chen's achievements today are inseparable from the support of loyal fans. Looking back on his journey of becoming famous, it is also closely related to the internet. He has the most supporters on the internet, one of which is represented by the growing number of Lu Zhejun. Many of the backbone of this fan support group are his loyal fans when he was doing live broadcasts on the internet. After becoming famous, Lu Chen not only did not forget these fans, but also paid more attention to interacting with fans on the internet. Some time ago, when he stayed up late to shoot in Hong Kong, he did not forget to take some time to chat with fans on his blog and talk about his work. This approach has made Lu Chen's fans very loyal. They feel that their idol is not unattainable. He is more like a friend who they don't often meet in life, and they are very grounded. Tian, for Lu Chen's reply, the fans responded more enthusiastically, and there was a flood of comments on the blog. A prize? Boss, you're too modest. At least 3 awards, the best male singer, the best lyrics, and the best composition. What about the best album? Give the best album to me, Fei. After all, we should keep the goodies to ourselves. If I can't get more than 2 big prizes, I will live broadcast eating my keyboard on my blog. I will not go back on my word. Eat it too. Some comments are interesting and some are very exaggerated, but basically, there are more support and praise and more confidence in Lu Chen to win the prize. This to a large extent reflects the popularity of Lu Chen today. Although he went to Hong Kong to shoot a movie some time ago, the number of fans of Wave's blog has increased. More and more people fell in love with Lu Chen's songs and his works. Many people got to know Lu Chen through the 2 popular TV series, Autumn in My Heart and Full House of Romance, and then listened to his songs. As a result, they became Lu Chen's fans. As his fans, they naturally hoped that Lu Chen could achieve success on the global Chinese Top Songs chart. After all, the first Chinese Top Songs chart represented the highest achievement in the Chinese pop music world. For Lu Chen, having such a group of passionate, kind, and adorable fans was undoubtedly a very heartwarming thing. He tried his best to reply to some of the comments, unknowingly forgetting the passage of time. When Lu Chen turned off the tablet, he found that Chen Fei, who was leaning against his arms, had fallen asleep. Saturday, December 31st, the last day of 2016. The rainy weather that lasted for many days finally ended, and the capital ushered in a rare sunny day at the end of December. The early winter was not too cold. Beautiful women in beautiful long dresses could be seen everywhere in the streets and alleys, letting their long legs exposed in the wind, showing off their youthful beauty. In the afternoon, traffic control was implemented on the roads around the National Grand Theatre, and further places were blocked, so the traffic department had to send more people to clear the way. It was not dark yet, and the welcome signature wall in front of the main entrance of the National Grand Theatre had been set up. A long red carpet was spread out for 100 meters, and countless media reporters with long cameras and short cannons were waiting on both sides of the red carpet, waiting for the ceremony to begin. Behind the reporters there was a large number of audience, most of whom were young people. Many of them were holding fluorescent cards or support sticks with their names written on them. Their excited faces made the atmosphere of the scene more and more enthusiastic. A large number of security personnel were on guard, because they knew that there were many stars walking on the red carpet today. It could be said that the top stars of the Chinese music industry from both sides of the Taiwan Strait and the three regions had gathered. Once the fans saw their idols and went crazy, the scene would not be easy to control. At about 5 o'clock in the evening, the lights on both sides of the welcome signature wall were turned on, and the people gathered in the square in front of the National Grand Theatre had reached its peak. Fortunately, there were many large live broadcast screens arranged around to disperse the crowd. Otherwise, it would be hard to imagine how crowded both sides of the red carpet would be. At 6 o'clock, pedestrians were only allowed to exit in the restricted area. The first black welcome car drove to the starting point of the red carpet under the attention of thousands of people and stopped steadily. The door opened and a middle-aged man in a suit got out and stood on the red carpet. In an instant, countless flashes lit up, shining on his face and body, and the middle-aged man was obviously used to it. He still smiled and waved to the audience around him. "Yu Ming." The crowd immediately burst into earth-shattering shouts. This elegant middle-aged man was Yu Ming, a big brother in the domestic pop music industry. He made his debut in the late 1980s and rose to prominence in the early 1990s. In the past 30 years he had released more than a dozen solo albums, conquered a large number of fans with folk songs and love songs, and also won the love of countless people. At the red carpet ceremony of the Global Chinese Original Songs Chart Award ceremony, the first guest to appear was Yu Ming, who also deserved his fame. Enjoying the baptism of the flashes and the cheers of the fans, Yu Ming walked the long red carpet alone in high spirits. After him, the big stars, superstars and idols in the domestic Hong Kong and Taiwan appeared one by one. Tan Hong, Liao Jia, Su Yingying, Lu Gangsheng, and then. The thunderous names kept ringing in the square in front of the National Grand Theatre, and the light from the flashes never stopped. The Chinese music industry ushered in the first original songs chart, and also ushered in the real glory moment. Lu Qin appeared in the 12th place. Although it wasn't his first time walking the red carpet, when the door opened and he got out of the car, he was greeted by the sound waves and dazzling lights, which made his heart jump. Tonight, the National Grand Theatre was the stage of the pop music festival. Was it also a stage that belonged to him? Lu Qin took a deep breath. He saw in the crowd not far away, someone was desperately holding up a fluorescent card with his name written on it. Lu Qin. Lu Qin. The big shots in front of him did not affect Lu Qin's popularity. In the crowd of onlookers who knew how many fans were shouting his name, as well as the long and short guns aimed at him. This was also a glorious moment for him. This feeling was intoxicating. Lu Qin smiled, then turned around and reached out his hand to the car. He did not come alone. Qin Feier. Chapter 518. Qin Fei. The cheers from the crowd suddenly became louder. Fluorescent signs with Qin Feier's name written on them were raised high, and the pink light shone on the young faces. These were Qin Feier's hardcore fans. They had rushed to the front square of the National Grand Theatre in advance and waited for several hours just for this moment. In waves of cheers, Qin Feier, who was wearing the latest Chanel dress, got out of the welcome car. Two moving cameras followed her and Lu Qin walking hand in hand on the red carpet. This scene was transmitted to thousands of TV screens and the internet at the speed of light through the live camera. It was witnessed by hundreds of millions of people, and it also made countless fans of the two excited. Nobody knew when it started, but the scene of Lu Qin and Qin Fei holding hands began to appear frequently on the camera. Everyone also realized that the same scene would appear many times. The two held hands and walked on the long red carpet unhurriedly. The media reporters on both sides pressed the shutters desperately to record this beautiful moment. Today, Lu Qin was wearing a custom-made Armani suit. The master-level design matched with first-class fabric and excellent tailoring, which made him look even more handsome. He strode with his long legs as if he was walking on the scene of a fashion show. Chen Fei's plain white sleeveless dress was a perfect match for him. The hot queen of pop music was half naked, and she was extremely sexy and charming. It made the cameramen on the scene feel that it was worth it no matter how much memory they used. Among the guests who came to the Global Chinese Golden Songs Award ceremony at the National Grand Theatre, Lu Qin and Chen Fei were undoubtedly not the most famous or the most popular stars, but they were definitely the most eye-catching couple. They came to the front of the guest signature wall together, and the etiquette lady handed them autograph pens. Lu Qin and Chen Fei signed their names on it respectively, and then took a photo to leave a message. When they came down from the autograph table, a reporter from CCTV came over to interview them. The big camera was aimed at them first. The beautiful female reporter smiled and asked, "Mr. Lu Qin, Miss Chen Fei, how many awards are you going to take home today? Have you ever thought about it?" Lu Qin and Chen Fei looked at each other and smiled. The two of them had been asked this question countless times on the blog. The two of them had a total of 10 nominations, 2 of which overlapped, so in theory they could take home a maximum of 8 awards. But this was obviously unrealistic. Lu Qin smiled and said, "My goal is to win one. I don't want to be satisfied with nothing." Chen Fei smiled lightly and said, "Me too." The female reporter laughed and said, "The two of you are really the best couple in the pop music industry. Your thoughts are the same and you are both very humble. In the online media survey your popularity index is very high." She asked again, "But if you can only win one award, which one will you choose?" This question was a bit tricky. "That depends on the judges," Lu Qin said. "I don't mean what I say. But personally I hope it's the best male singer." Big and small awards were included in the Global Chinese Gold Songs chart, and the best male singer was undoubtedly one of the most important and valuable awards. Modesty was necessary. Excessive modesty would appear hypocritical. If Lu Qin really had to choose among the 6 nominations, he hoped to win this award the most. Moreover, he had enough confidence. Looking back at the entire Chinese music industry in 2016, Lu Qin was definitely one of the most eye-catching male singers. After his second album, The Ordinary Road, was officially released, not only did it sell well, but it also surpassed last year's You Who Sat Next to Me in terms of evaluation. He was unique in the pop music industry and established his own position. If You Who Sat Next to Me was a work that made him famous, then The Ordinary Road was a work that made him stand out. His work even changed the rules of the original music chart. Undoubtedly, he deserved to win the Best Male Singer of the Year. Of course, there were many factors for winning the highest level of music awards like the Global Chinese Gold Songs chart. Strength, popularity, reputation, luck and even connections were all important. But in Lu Qin's heart, the best male singer was the best affirmation of himself. "What about Miss Chen Fei?" The CCTV female reporter pointed the microphone at Chen Fei again. "Which one will you choose?" Chen Fei looked at Lu Qin and said with a smile, "The best female singer." Lu Qin chose the best male singer and she chose the best female singer. It was a little unexpected but reasonable. If Lu Qin was qualified to win the best male singer, then the best female singer was basically reserved by Chen Fei. In the pop music world in 2016, there was no more brilliant female singer than her. The album Woman Flower sold 5 or 6 million copies, creating the best result in the music industry in the past 10 years. No one could match the achievement of The Crown, and it made Chen Fei's status as the heavenly queen unshakable. Most importantly, with the help of Woman Flower, Chen Fei completed a gorgeous transformation. She transformed from the queen of sweet songs to the queen of love songs, and her career took a new step. In the online survey of CCTV, Chen Fei received 48.49% of the support for the best female singer, leaving several other competitors far behind. Although this online survey did not affect the results of the awards, the torrential public opinion could not be ignored by any judge. "Then I wish the two of you can achieve your wishes and win the best male singer and the best female singer at the same time." The CCTV female reporter gave her blessings and said, "Achieve a good story in the Chinese Gold Songs chart." Lu Qin and Chen Fei replied at the same time, "Thank you." If the two really won the Best Male and Female Singer award, it would really be a good story to talk about. And those fans sitting in front of TVs and computers, or holding tablets and mobile phones to watch the live broadcast, were also aroused by the blessings of the CCTV female reporter. Especially in the Lu Qin anchor room of Whale TV, it was instantly flooded with barrage. According to the past practice, the Lu Qin anchor room broadcast the whole process of the Global Chinese Gold Songs Chart award ceremony. Although Lu Qin was not the host himself, the number of online fans still exceeded the 1 million mark, and it was still increasing. Since Lu Qin's debut, this has been one of the important positions of his fan support group. Many fans began to pay attention to him when Lu Qin was unknown. Until now, they still have not abandoned him and love him more and more. The focus of everyone's discussion immediately shifted to the topic of the best male and female singers. Chapter 519. I bet 50 cents that the best male and female singer will definitely fall into my Chen's hands. Put away your 50 cents and go home to buy a popsicle to eat. Do you understand the principle of death in hot weather? I think it's very dangerous. My Chen's best singer is a bit dangerous, but your Fei's best female singer should not be a problem. I have nothing to say to you. If the best male and female singer are given to someone else, I swear I will never look at the Golden Song chart. Don't quarrel, everyone. The results haven't come out yet. The Whale TV anchor room was in full swing, and the noise was earth-shattering. Many fans firmly believed that there was no suspense for the best male and female singer, but more fans were not so sure, and some even believed that both of them would lose. Why? Because it's impossible for there to be no tricks in this kind of award. It's not the first time that Lu Qin has been suppressed. It's good to win the award, but don't be disappointed if you can't win it. Lu Qin's talent and strength don't need to be proved by a prize, so it's better for everyone to keep calm. As they talked, many fans were influenced and felt that they should lower their goal. For example, the best composition or best lyrics are also good. As Lu Qin said, it's good not to get nothing. Otherwise, it would be too shameful to get nothing out of 6 nominations. Just as the internet was abuzz with discussion, Lu Qin and Qin Fei entered the main hall of the National Grand Theater hand in hand and sat in their seats. As early as February this year, Lu Qin came to the National Grand Theater. At that time, he participated in the Asian Chinese Music Chart and received 4 nominations. In the end, he won 2 Golden Lark Awards for Best Newcomer and Best Composition. This Asian Chinese Music Chart was also the last one, because it has been merged into the Global Chinese Music Chart, but the glory of that night is still fresh in Lu Qin's memory. It was with the 2 Golden Lark Awards that Lu Qin established his position in the Chinese pop music world. At that time, his relationship with Qin Fei had not been officially announced. In a sense, the National Grand Theater is his lucky place. So this time he has a total of 6 nominations. How many prizes can he win in the end? Lu Qin was also looking forward to the results. The main hall of the National Center for the Performing Arts had a total of 5,000 seats. Lu Qin and Qin Fei were seated on the right side of the second row. Sitting in the same row were many familiar faces. Tan Hong, Liao Jia, Li Xing, Su Yingying. They were all superstars in the Chinese music industry. Lu Qin also saw Lu Gangxing, who smiled and waved at him, attracting the attention of the people around them. Tonight was undoubtedly a grand gathering of the Chinese pop music industry. At 7:30 in the evening, the main hall of the National Center for the Performing Arts was full of 5,000 seats. Under the brilliant lights, cameras were faithfully recording everything from different angles. The huge screen on the big stage slowly lit up, and the golden words, Global Chinese Original Songs Award Ceremony, shone brightly. The white mist formed by dry ice filled the air. Together with the special lighting of the scene, it gave people a dreamy feeling. Soft music began to play, and the hall quickly quietened down. The host officially appeared on stage. According to the usual practice, the host of the Global Chinese Original Songs Award Ceremony was still a big shot of CCTV. The audience was very familiar with the 4-person group of 2 men and 2 women. Respected leaders and distinguished guests. Dear audience at the scene and in front of the TV. Good evening, everyone. It was still a familiar voice. However, the 5,000 audience at the scene, including the big stars of the pop music industry in front of them, listened carefully to the opening remarks of the 4 hosts, which were like poetry recitation. As soon as the last sentence was finished, the audience burst into thunderous applause. The Global Chinese Original Songs Award ceremony officially began with celebratory singing and dancing. Interestingly, as the first song and dance performance of the opening program, They actually chose Lu Chen's I Love You, China as the theme song, and the singer was a well-known singer. Her singing skills were better than Lu Chen's. She sang the essence of this work with a strong theme in the bel canto style, and also brought a wave of climax to the atmosphere of the audience. You wrote this song really well. Tan Hong suddenly turned his head and said to Lu Chen, write a few more similar songs in the future. It will be good for you. Tan Hong won the Lifetime Achievement Award at the last Asian Chinese Original Songs Award. Now he had basically said goodbye to the music industry and rarely appeared in public. This time, Tan Hong didn't get any nomination for the first Global Chinese Original Songs chart, but he was invited to come to support. His seat was next to Lu Chen. For Tan Hong's kind reminder, Lu Chen quickly replied, I know, brother Tan. During this time, Lu Chen had finished filming TV shows and movies. He sang less and wrote less, but he did not forget his roots. He was preparing to release his third album in the middle of next year. There was also a solo concert, which was already in the studio's plan. Tan Hong smiled and patted him on the shoulder, saying, You have always done a good job. Keep it up. Lu Chen nodded hard. While they were talking, the song and dance performance was over. The four hosts appeared again and announced the first award. The first award of the Global Chinese Original Songs Award was the Best Newcomer of the Year award. There were a total of 5 nominees, all of whom were newcomers in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan this year. After some suspenseful comments, the famous singer Yu Zhaoan finally revealed the mystery. The winner of the Best Newcomer of the Global Chinese Original Songs Award is Xiao Yao. As soon as his voice fell, 4 of the 5 candidates on the background big screen disappeared in an instant, and the remaining one was enlarged and highlighted. The sky was full of flowers, and the celebratory music rang through the whole audience. Congratulations, Xiao Yao. In the corner of the audience, several people jumped up excitedly, hugged and shouted at each other. The camera's lens swept over and fixed on one of the beautiful women, which was displayed on the big screen. It gave the protagonist a close-up with tears streaming down her face. There was a warm applause in the audience. They went on stage, received the award, gave a speech, thanked. The second award was the Best Newcomer Group of the Year. Among the 5 nominated groups, the Little Tigers, which had just been established this year, was included. Sister Lee, with her son and the members of the Little Tigers, sat in the 3rd row, more than 10 meters away from Lu Chen and Chen Feihe. It could be seen that Sister Lee was still very nervous, so she did not notice the 2 people looking at her with concern. Liao Jia was in charge of announcing the winners. This big brother in the music industry, who was famous for his straightforward temper, did not play any suspense. He directly tore open the envelope and drew out the list of winners. His eyes were fixed on the thin paper. Then he said 3 words, The Little Tigers. Chapter 520. Little Tiger Group. When Liao Jia read out these 3 words, Zhang Juanji, Yu Yang and Hu Yiran, who were nervously waiting for the result, were stunned at first, and then, as if awakening from a dream, they jumped up from their seats with a smile on their faces. Jumping up together with them were the fans of the Little Tiger Group. They held up their support fluorescent signs and shouted the names of the 3 people. They were as excited as if they had won a prize. These fans have one thing in common, that is, they are very young. Many of them appeared at the scene accompanied by their parents. Although the number of people was not very large, the atmosphere created was extremely warm. Global Chinese Original Gold Songs List. Best Newcomer Group of the Year, Little Tiger Group. The Little Tiger Group is a boy group that was just formed this year. It has only been a short time since their debut. However, relying on their debut album Butterflies Fly, and their excellent performance on Singing China, they quickly gathered a large number of fans and became the most dazzling newcomer group in the domestic pop music world. The Little Tiger Group focuses on the style of youth. The 3 handsome teenagers have conquered countless peers with their excellent singing voice, handsome style and enthusiastic dance steps. The sales of their debut album have exceeded 2 million. This year, the domestic pop music world was a year of explosive physical album sales. The CD, which was regarded as being on the verge of elimination, seemed to have suddenly regained its powerful charm. Chen Feihe's Woman Flower, Lu Chen's The Ordinary Road, and the Little Tiger Group's Butterflies Fly, have all come up with a proud report card. Although a large part of CDs are sold on the basis of limited edition bundles, the influence of these best-selling albums is great. The albums released by many singers this year have significantly increased the sales of CDs, and even the very small number of professional CD players have been sold several times more than in previous years. Such a phenomenon makes many people in the industry feel incredible. Because of the weakness of CDs' low capacity and low portability, it is the general trend to be completely replaced by digital music. Nowadays, the sales of singers' albums include digital albums and storage media such as USB drives. Who would have thought that the traditional CD would make a comeback? And the albums sold by the Little Tiger Group, single CD accounts for only a small proportion. Most of them are bundled with peripheral products, earning higher profits. Among the 12 to 18-year-old age group, this boy group already has great popularity. Therefore, there was no doubt that they would win the Best Newcomer Duo of the Year tonight. After Zhang Juanji jumped up, he immediately turned around and hugged his mother. Big close-up shots of the mother and son were immediately given by the live camera. The hundreds of millions of viewers at the venue and in front of their televisions could clearly see the tears flowing down Sister Li's face. They were sparkling tears of joy. Those who knew and understood Sister Li all knew about her past and how hard it was for Zhang Juanji to obtain the glory he had today. All of them gave her a warm round of applause. The audience burst into thunderous applause. The three youths ascended the stage one by one and received the award from the hands of the presenter. Zhang Juanji gave an acceptance speech on behalf of the Little Tigers. He first waved the golden trophy in his hand and then said to the microphone, "Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the Global Chinese Original Songs Committee's recognition. Here I would like to thank my mother first. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here today and tomorrow. So, I would like to say, Mom, I love you." The last sentence was almost shouted out by Zhang Juanji at the top of his voice. In the main hall of the National Grand Theater, applause exploded again. Everyone was cheering for his speech. Sister Li was still crying, but her smile was particularly happy. After calming down his excitement, Zhang Juanji went on to say, "In addition to my mother, I would like to thank Teacher Lu Chen second. You are our best teacher and we love you too." The camera quickly gave a close-up shot of Lu Chen in the guest seat. Lu Chen raised his arms with a smile on his face and gave a thumbs up to the stage at the same time. Zhang Juanji continued, "I hope you can win all the nominated awards." Was this a child's babble? Laughter rang out in the guest seats and the audience, and then there was applause. The sincerity of the youth was the easiest to move people's hearts. After the Best Newcomer Group, it was the Best Male Group and Female Group. Among them, MSN was nominated for the Best Female Group and won this important award with the album, Not Yet Lovers. As the first female group under Flying Stone Records, MSN was undoubtedly one of the most popular female groups in the domestic pop music world. Their debut album, Not Yet Lovers, released last year, had already won double platinum. They had more than 10 million fans on Wave's blog, and received a lot of notices, commercial performances and endorsements. At the last Asian Chinese Gold Songs Chart Award ceremony, MSN was defeated by the July Sky Group in the Best Newcomer Group. Now the three girls finally proved themselves with a more valuable Global Chinese Gold Songs Chart Award, and they also won the throne of the first female group in the Chinese music world. Mu Xiaochu delivered an award speech on behalf of MSN. Her first thanks was to Lu Chen. At this time, the audience suddenly discovered that although Lu Chen had not won a prize so far, his name had already appeared in the mouths of the two winners, and the weight was heavy. Looking back at 2016, among the groups in the pop music world, MSN and the newly rising Little Tiger Group were undoubtedly the two brightest stars, and their success was inseparable from Lu Chen. Compared with last year, MSN's popularity was higher, and its position in the circle was unshakable. They're Not Yet Lovers, Where's Love, He Still Doesn't Understand, and the singles Ocean of Love and Tropical Rainforest released this year, were incomparable on the original music chart and became popular songs played on the streets. These works were all created by Lu Chen. The success of MSN has also brought about a wave of beautiful girl groups in the domestic entertainment industry. This year there were as many as a dozen new girl groups and the influence could be seen. As for the Little Tiger Group, there was no need to mention. At least half of the credit for the success of Butterfly Flight was due to Lu Chen. He used his amazing talent to make the two new groups soar to the sky and became the biggest contributor behind the two awards. The glory of MSN and the Little Tiger Group was also the glory of Lu Chen. After the two best male and female groups, there were several other awards that had nothing to do with Lu Chen, such as Best Music Video, Best Arrangement, etc., each of which had its own winner. Then his first nomination appeared, Best Producer. Chapter 521. Among the 24 awards in the Global Chinese Original Gold Songs list, the Best Producer is a very important award, because the producer itself belongs to a very high level of existence in the circle. A truly excellent music producer, professional quality and talent are indispensable. He is more reclusive behind the scenes, and his name is hidden in the corner of the cover of the CD record, but his importance is beyond doubt. There are many excellent producers in the domestic pop music world. Basically, they work for major record entertainment companies, or have their own independent door. The other four nominees with Lu Chen are all well-known figures in the industry. Tian, not sure what to do. Lu Chen was nominated for Best Producer with his own, The Ordinary Road. To be honest, he really doesn't have much ambition for this award. Because the Best Producer, to a large extent, is determined by the connections of the nominees in the circle. And the fact was as Lu Chen expected. The winner of the Best Producer is Tan Hong. As the guest of honor, opened the envelope and calmly announced the name of the winner, Zhu Yu. His award-winning work is If There Is Tomorrow! Accompanied by warm applause from the audience, a middle-aged man stood up a few meters away from Lu Chen. He waved his fist hard, hugged his friends and colleagues around him to congratulate him, and then went on stage to receive the award. Zhu Yu is the music director of Sunshine Records, a well-known domestic record company. He is a classmate of Lin Jijie, the director of Flying Stone Records. In his more than 20 years of career, he has supervised hundreds of records, and it is not the first time that he has won the Best Producer. His strength is recognized in the industry. It is completely reasonable for him to beat four competitors, including Lu Chen, to win this award, and his nominated album is indeed excellent. Of course, there are many people who are disappointed, especially the fans of Lu Chen in the anchor room of Whale TV. He didn't win the first one. It's a pity. Jiu? Who is this? I've never heard of him. How can he win? Never heard of +1. To be reasonable, it's normal for you not to have heard of the producer. We only know the singer when we listen to the record. It's so disappointing. I bet that Lu Chen can win all 6 nominations. It's impossible to get all 6. Don't worry, there's still more. No matter what, I will always support Lu Chen. Although there were many fans who complained and made sour remarks, there were also those who treated them with tolerance and a normal heart. After all, it was completely unrealistic for Lu Chen to win an award with only 6 nominations. There was no point in keeping an eye on the Best Producer award that had already been lost. Moreover, many fans felt that the Best Producer award was nothing special. After the Best Producer award, there were a few more small awards in a row, and there was even a song and dance performance in between. Central TV was definitely a top-notch expert when it came to organizing galas. They had made the award ceremony look spectacular, and the program was also carefully selected. Not to mention the creative concept, just the strong cast and the brilliant background design were enough to make the audience feel pleasing to the eye. Of course, for the fans who couldn't wait to see Lu Chen win the award, it was a bit torturous. Lu Chen's second nomination was for the Best Lyrics Award, and his nominated work was The Ordinary Road. The Best Lyrics Award was worth a lot of money. Although it was generally believed that the importance of the composition of a song was big than the lyrics, good lyrics and bad lyrics had a completely different impact on the work itself. Just like producers in the pop music circle, lyricists were also very strong. The winner of the Best Producer award is Li Yunfeng. In the end, the fans who were looking forward to Lu Chen winning the award were disappointed again. The Best Lyrics Award of the Global Chinese Original Songs chart was won by the famous writer and lyricist Li Yunfeng. Lu Chen's 2 consecutive nominations failed, which inevitably made people's hearts become subtle. In less than 2 years since his debut, Lu Chen has opened up a world of his own in the Chinese music world with his bare hands. His talent and popularity are obvious to all. He deserves to be nominated 6 times on the Golden Melody chart. Tian, not bad. However, being nominated didn't mean that he would win a big award, especially for a high-standard award like the Chinese Original Songs chart. The birth of any award might be accompanied by games and compromises. It was not incredible that Lu Chen, who had 6 nominations, won nothing in the end. Compared with his talent and strength, his foundation and connections in the circle were much worse. After the Best Lyrics Award was the Best Composition Award. It was Lu Chen's nomination award again. The Best Composition Award was second only to the Best Male and Female Singer Award. Among the 5 nominees, the other 4 of Lu Chen's opponents were all well-known figures in the industry for many years. The guest in charge of announcing the winner was none other than Lu Gangxing from Hong Kong. Because Lu Gangxing didn't release any album or single in 2016, he was not nominated in the first Chinese Original Songs chart. However, as a top star in the Chinese music industry, he was still invited to tonight's award ceremony. The King of Hong Kong walked on the stage and waved to the audience from time to time, which attracted a burst of warm applause and cheers, fully showing his great popularity in the mainland. Taking the envelope from the etiquette lady, Lu Gangxing opened it with a smile. At this moment, the covers of the 5 nominees' works appeared on the big screen in the background of the stage. Lu Chen's nomination for the Best Composition Award was Jiangnan. This song was first sung by Lu Chen at the fan meeting in Hangzhou in August this year, and then quickly spread out and became one of his most popular representative works. There was a period of time when the song Jiangnan was repeatedly played in the streets and alleys of Jiangnan. It only took 2 weeks for it to reach the top of the original music chart, but it occupied the top position for 5 weeks and became one of the most requested pop songs on major radio stations. Many well-known music critics wrote comments on this song, among which the highest praise was that Lu Chen created a new style of music. So now, could Lu Chen win the Best Composition Award with Jiangnan? In the main hall of the National Grand Theatre, hundreds of audiences stared at Lu Gangxing standing on the stage, and there were even more people waiting for the results in front of the TV and computers. Lu Gangxing took out the letter unhurriedly. He glanced at the printed text and was surprised. The next moment his surprise turned into a smile and he said loudly in Mandarin with a Hong Kong accent, "The winner of the Best Composition Award is Lu Chen Jiangnan." Although he was mentally prepared, Lu Chen was still shocked at this moment. "Congratulations." Until Chen Fei gently hugged him. The moment of glory that truly belonged to Lu Chen had finally arrived. Chapter 522. Lu Chen was the first to lose the Best Producer of the Global Chinese Original Gold Songs list. He had no chance of winning the Best Lyrics. 2 of the 6 nominations that Lu Chen had received had been lost, which gave people a very bad feeling. The curse of certain death seemed to hover over the National Grand Theatre, becoming a dark cloud over the heads of all the people who paid attention to him. If he lost the Best Composition, then Lu Chen might go away dismally tonight. Maybe some people would gloat, but his fans would definitely be extremely disappointed. When Lu Gangxing took out the letter, the atmosphere in Whale TV Lu Chen's studio was very tense, even to the point of depression. Even the barrage became sparse and no one gave any rewards. Then the next moment they got the first surprise of the night. The winner of the Best Composition is Lu Chen. Lu Chen, it's really Lu Chen. He defeated 4 powerful opponents and won the crown of the Best Composition. The audience burst into thunderous applause. Looking back at the Chinese pop music world in 2016, there was indeed no better singer and composer than Lu Chen. His talent and originality was simply stunning. Not only did he bring himself to the peak of his music career, but he also had a huge and far-reaching impact on the music industry. In 2016, Lu Chen had created a lot of works, many of which were classics. Jiangnan was only one of the representatives, and it could not fully represent Lu Chen's strength. He deserved the Best Composition. The applause for Lu Chen was not only from the audience and fans, but also from the other 4 nominees. Many people even stood up to congratulate him. The live broadcast room of Whale TV was simply boiling. "Hooray, the Best Composition. Don't say anything. I'll reward an aircraft carrier first. Don't stop me. At this moment, only sprinkling fish balls can express my mood. My chin is mighty. Don't worry, it's just the beginning. There are still 3 big prizes behind. Aha, I guessed right. There really is the Best Composition. Lu Chen, you can do it." Along with the crazy barrage of comments, there were fish balls falling like raindrops, as well as a domineering aircraft carrier. These aircraft carriers, which represented the highest reward amount, were not just 1 or 2 aircraft carriers. Instead, the number of aircraft carriers was increased by several times, or even more than 10 times by the nouveau riche fans. The one with the most number of aircraft carriers had reached 100 combo. In other words, just this fan with the ID loves Lu Chen the most, had sent 100,000 yuan to Lu Chen in less than a minute. Ever since Lu Chen entered the film and television industry, he had less time to interact with his fans in the live broadcast room. Such a scene had not appeared for a long time. Due to his great success through online live broadcasting, many star artists in the circle have noticed this huge fan market. Therefore, Whale TV signed a number of new idol artists in 2016, all of whom have gained high popularity, challenging Lu Chen's position as the #1 star anchor of Whale TV. Whale TV. But tonight, Lu Chen easily proved that his position in Whale TV was unshakable with the Best Composition award. In just a few minutes, the number of rewards he received broke the 1 million mark, setting a new record for Whale TV. Lu Chen hugged Qin Feier, and then hugged Tan Hong and Liao Jia. These two big brothers in the music industry have given him a lot of advice and help. The help of these friends is indispensable for him to be able to go so smoothly in the pop music industry. In the continuous warm applause, Lu Chen walked onto the star-studded stage. Congratulations. Lu Gangxing handed the award in his hand to Lu Chen with a smile and gave him a big hug. Lu Chen nodded hard, "Thank you." Lu Gangxing patted him on the back and then stepped aside, willing to be the supporting role of the protagonist. Holding the golden and heavy award in his hand, facing thousands of guests and audiences, Lu Chen, who was standing in front of the microphone, was filled with emotion. The applause gradually subsided and everyone's eyes were focused on him. Lu Chen thought for a moment, then said to the microphone, "First of all, I am honored to attend the award ceremony of the Global Chinese Original Songs Chart tonight. Thank you to the organizing committee for giving me such recognition and support. Most importantly, I am very grateful to the organizing committee for arranging Brother Hong Sheng to present the award to me, because he has always been my idol. Thank you, Brother Hong Sheng." There was warm applause again and the camera of the live broadcast focused on Lu Gangxing. The superstar from Hong Kong smiled and cupped his hands. Lu Chen then said, "In the past year, I have written a lot of songs. Jiangnan is a very special work. Thank you for your recognition and love. I will continue to work hard to create more and better works in the new year. Thank you again." With that, he bowed deeply to show his respect. In the even more warm applause, Lu Chen walked off the stage with the award and returned to his seat. Qin Feier asked with a smile, "Are you very happy?" Lu Chen smiled and said, "I'm very happy. Come and share it with us." He handed the award in his hand to Qin Feier. Qin Feier took it and almost dropped it to the ground. She said in surprise, "It's so heavy." The award for the Global Chinese Original Songs Chart was the same as the award for the Asian Chinese Original Songs Chart, and it still used the name Golden Lark, which was familiar to the public. However, compared with the original Golden Lark, the redesigned award was smoother and more outstanding. The lark spreading its wings and singing was lifelike, and the image of soaring into the sky was more meaningful. The change in the design was secondary. The most important thing was that the gold content of the award had been increased big. The original Golden Lark was made of copper and gilded on the outside. Not to mention the lightweight, it would fade after a long time. And now, the new award stands were made of solid copper core with multiple layers of gold plating. Each award stand contained more than 50 grams of gold. The base of the award stand was also inlaid with gems and crushed diamonds. The production cost was very high. Therefore, even if there were many winners of the Best Group Award, they could only share one award. Previously, Qin Feier had been nominated for the Best Stage Performance Award. Unfortunately, she did not win it, so the two of them had a total of 10 nominations. The first to win the award was Lu Chen. "But don't be too proud," Qin Feier, who had let Lu Chen show off, said proudly, "I won't lose to you." The next award was the Media Recommendation Award. Interestingly, both Lu Chen and Qin Feier were nominated. They were competitors for this award. Chapter 523. Before the Global Chinese Top Original Songs Chart was born, the three major domestic pop music awards all included the Media Recommendation Award. The Media Recommendation Award was a very special award. It was the only award that was not selected by the judges or the audience. Instead, it was recommended by various traditional and online media. There were a total of 235 media recommending the Global Chinese Top Original Songs Chart, which basically included the three major special zones and many important overseas Chinese media. Therefore, the Media Recommendation Award was very important. It was bigger than the original three major music awards. In addition to Lu Chen and Qin Feier, there were three other real celebrities who were nominated for the Media Recommendation Award. The competition was no less fierce than the most important awards such as Best Male and Female Singer, Best Album, and so on. Accompanied by the exciting music, the close-up photos of the five nominees appeared on the big screen in the background. Lu Chen and Qin Feier were listed side by side in the middle, which made the audience laugh. It was very interesting. These two popular singers were a couple. Now they were competing on the same stage. No one knew who would win or would they both lose. The guest who announced the award was Huang Yuan, the CEO of Waves blog. As the founder of the largest new media in the country, he was undoubtedly one of the best representatives of many entertainment-related media. Huang Yuan was only in his 30s this year. He was dressed in a well-ironed suit and looked energetic. He opened the envelope with a smile and directly announced the answer. The winner of the Global Chinese Top Original Songs Chart by Media Recommendation Award is Miss Chen Feier. Chen Feier. Chen Feier won the Media Recommendation Award and got her first personal award. This result was not unexpected, because in the past year Chen Feier had been the darling of the major domestic media. Her album Woman Flower, her successful transformation, her 2 TV series. God knows how much material has been provided for the media. Her personal portrait has also appeared on the cover of more than 10 fashion and entertainment media, and there are countless other headlines. At the same time, the big screen showed Chen Feier's votes. 109. This was a very high number. After all, the total number of votes was only 235, and she took nearly half of it. In the applause, Chen Feier went on the stage to receive the award and then gave a brief acceptance speech. After coming back, she smiled and shook her award to Lu Chen. Lu Chen couldn't help laughing. But this was obviously not Chen Feier's real moment, because the first super heavyweight award of the night was coming soon, Best Female Singer. It was recognized in the industry that in any pop music awards, Best Male Singer, Best Female Singer, and Best Album were the 3 most important awards, representing the highest glory of singers. The weight was the heaviest, so of course the competition was the fiercest. In the past, in some pop music awards, there were many strange things where many singers won the Best Male and Female Singer awards at the same time. In fact, it was also because of this competition. And the selection rules of the Global Chinese Original Songs Chart limited the winner to only one, so as to ensure the value of the award. Therefore, the competition was even stronger. Which singer didn't want to win this award, which represented the highest honor of Chinese pop music? Chen Feier's opponents were not ordinary people. However, this highly anticipated prize was basically out of suspense from the beginning, and the result seemed to have been doomed long ago. The Chinese pop music world in 2016 belonged to Chen Feier. This was the headline of a very influential domestic media article 2 months ago. Although it was slightly exaggerated, it was also based on facts and was not excessive flattery. 2016 was the year of transformation for Chen Feier, which was extremely important for the Queen of Sweet Songs, who had made her debut for more than 10 years. Before the release of her new album, she was facing a bottleneck and dilemma in her career. Although her popularity was still high, her fans were constantly losing. As early as last year, Chen Feier's position in the music industry was a little awkward. She couldn't get rid of the shackles of her past style, but it was difficult for her to transform. In desperation, she could only develop in variety shows. At that time, she served as a judge of Singing China, based on the needs of various development. Then Chen Feier met Lu Chen. Lu Chen created a new album for her called Woman Flower. Woman Flower was officially launched on April 16 this year. So far, the total sales of online digital, physical CDs and peripheral packages have reached more than 7 million, setting the highest record of domestic record sales in the past decade, and some of them were even sold to many countries in Southeast Asia. Who else could be the best female singer but her? Although the curse of certain death appears from time to time, if the judges of the Global Chinese Original Songs Chart will choose someone else for this award, the result will not be as simple as a public uproar. In fact, the jury of the Golden Melody Chart did not want to make a big news to please the public. Chen Feier winning the Best Female Singer was expected. Chen Feier, who won the award, was also very excited. In her acceptance speech, she first routinely thanked the organizing committee, the judges and the team members, and then said, "I would also like to thank a gentleman here. Thank him for his tolerance, support and love for me all this time." Everyone immediately understood who Chen Feier was talking about, and the cameraman at the scene gave Lu Chen a shot in time. Lu Chen, with a smile, stared at his girlfriend standing on the stage, his eyes full of tenderness. "It's worth paying the whole world to have you. Half of this award belongs to you." Chen Feier's last sentence caused a thunderous applause in the main hall of the National Grand Theatre, which also pushed the atmosphere of the scene to a climax. Chen Feier bowed to thank everyone. Her eyes sparkled with crystal tears, not because of the sadness of memories, but because of sweet joy. When she returned to her seat, Lu Chen gently held her hand. Chen Feier whispered, "It's up to you." After the Best Female Singer, the winner of the Best Male Singer was announced. The photos of the 5 nominees appeared on the big screen in the background. They were Lu Chen, Yu Ming, Wang Quanfeng, Xuan and Oh Yanghan. Among them, Xuan is a famous singer from Taiwan, Oh Young-han is a singer from Hong Kong, and Yu Ming is a big figure in the domestic pop music industry. Only Wang Quanfeng is slightly less famous, but he also has 3 solo albums in hand. In terms of qualifications, they were all above Lu Chen, and their fame was not much less than Lu Chen's. A big shot like Yu Ming was above Lu Chen, and was undoubtedly Lu Chen's strongest competitor. Therefore, unlike the best female singer, the winner of the best male singer was still unknown. Chapter 524. Lu Chen, Yu Ming, Wang Quanfeng, Xuan, and Oh Young-han. The 5 nominees for the best male singer of the global Chinese original songs chart. In the Chinese music industry, which was full of talented people, male singers had always occupied more than half of the country. Therefore, no matter what music award, the best male singer was the most important and the most eye-catching. Therefore, in some music awards in previous years, there were even strange things that several male singers won the best at the same time. There was only one best male singer of the global Chinese original songs chart. The main hall of the National Grand Theater suddenly became very quiet. The 5,000 audience and guests all held their breath, waiting for the most important award to be announced. Even those who were watching the live broadcast of the music festival in front of their TVs and computers. Among the 5 singers who were nominated, Yu Ming was undoubtedly the most popular. The 40-year-old singer had a brilliant resume. In his more than 20 years of singing career, he had released a total of 15 solo albums and accumulated a total of more than 22 million album sales. He was undoubtedly one of the top figures in the domestic pop music industry. In terms of qualifications, prestige, fame, and connections, Yu Ming was firmly ahead of the other 4 competitors, including Lu Chen. Among the 5 nominees, Lu Chen was second only to Yu Ming in popularity. Xuan and Oh Young-han were not weak and had their own wonderful performances in 2016. However, they came from Taiwan and Hong Kong respectively. Participating in the highest domestic pop music evaluation was undoubtedly a loss of geographical location and social harmony. Of course, these 2 were still nominated for the Best Overseas Male Singer later. The overseas here mainly referred to the 3 special zones in Southeast Asian countries, and also included the Chinese people in Europe, America, Japan, and South Korea. It was a general concept. As for Wang Quanfeng, he was basically an accompaniment. Therefore, in the eyes of most people, the best male singer was mainly between Lu Chen and Yu Ming. Yu Ming's advantage was obvious, but he was not without weaknesses. In 2016, Yu Ming did not release a solo album. He only released 2 singles. Although both songs had topped the original music chart, compared with Lu Chen's proud achievements in the pop music industry, they were undoubtedly dwarfed. This made the best male singer competition a huge suspense. Who would the judges of the global Chinese original songs chart give more votes to? Everyone was waiting to see what would happen. The person in charge of revealing the answer was Lu Ning, the vice president of the Chinese Musicians Association. This highly respected and famous musician had always been concerned about the development of domestic pop music. The establishment of the global Chinese top songs chart was inseparable from his strong support and promotion. In addition, Lu Ning was also the chairman of the Golden Melody Chart's judging panel. The panel of judges consisted of 72 judges, who were basically well-known figures in the industry. Some of them were great seniors of the pop music industry who had retired long ago, some were senior executives of the media and news circle, and some were famous music critics and educators. Impartiality, openness, and fairness were the principles of the judging panel of the Golden Melody Chart. Lu Ning was the cornerstone that guaranteed the 3 principles of the selection. He personally came to present the Best Male Singer Award, which fully demonstrated the importance and value of this award. In front of the 5,000 audience, the white-haired Lu Ning calmly opened the red envelope and took out the paper with the winner's name printed inside. The 7 cameras at the scene were all pointed at him. Lu Ning's gaze froze for 3 seconds as he stared at the unfolded letter. These 3 seconds felt like an eternity, making people wonder if something had gone wrong. The atmosphere at the scene suddenly became heavy and oppressive. At this time, under the director's command, several cameras promptly focused on the 5 candidates. Yu Ming looked very calm with a smile on his face, but there was still a hint of nervousness in his eyes. Although he had won countless awards in the first 20 years of his singing career, the Best Male Singer Award in the first global Chinese top songs chart had a completely different meaning. Lu Chen was calm and focused. His hand was tightly holding Chen Feier's hand. Obviously, his heart was different from what he looked like on the surface. Xuan and Oh Young-han and the others were either nervous or excited, showing their strong expectations. Lu Ning slowly opened his mouth and said, 1. The best male singer of the global Chinese top songs chart is Lu Qin. The famous musician emphasized the last two words and enunciated them particularly clearly. His voice was transmitted through the microphone to the digital music processing equipment at the speed of light along the cable. Then, with the help of the high-fidelity sound system arranged around the hall, it was clearly transmitted to the 5,000 guests and the tens of millions of people in front of their televisions and computers. Lu Qin. The best male singer of the first global Chinese top songs chart belonged to Lu Qin, a young singer who had debuted less than 2 years ago, and it also pushed him to the peak of the Chinese pop music world. It was a little incredible, but it was so reasonable. Looking back at the whole of 2016, there was really no more outstanding male singer than Lu Qin in the Chinese pop music world. The original works he created and sang had a deep impact on the whole music world. To a large extent, he reversed the original trend of a large number of domestic pop songs covering, plagiarizing and imitating European, American, Japanese and Korean works. From the second half of 2015 to the first half of 2016, Lu Qin's works frequently appeared on the original music chart. His second album, The Ordinary Road, created excellent sales results. The first of the 10 works in the album was a fine work, and he became popular all over the country. Lu Qin deserved to win the Best Male Singer of the Year. Even those who didn't like him couldn't deny the achievements and popularity he had gained in the past year, and his contribution to the pop music world couldn't be ignored. Congratulations, Lu Qin. As Lu Qin's biggest competitor, Yu Ming, who lost this important award, was the first to stand up and applaud, sending his sincere congratulations to the winner. Although he was very sorry, he was not very disappointed, nor was he dissatisfied at all. Even if he had lost to a very young junior, he would not be able to do so. Because Lu Qin's performance in 2016 was really too good, the voting result of the top songs charts judges was fair. Congratulations. Qin Fei first gave Lu Qin a big hug, full of joy. Then the guests in the audience stood up one after another, and the messy applause soon became neat, like a summer storm sweeping through the main hall of the National Grand Theater. Congratulations. Tan Hong, Liao Jia and others sitting next to Lu Qin hugged Lu Qin one by one, patting him on the back to encourage and support him. Thank you. Thank you. Lu Qin didn't know how many blessings and congratulations he received along the way. This was his peak moment. Chapter 525. Stepping on some erratic footsteps, Lu Qin once again boarded the award stage of the global Chinese original songs chart. He respectfully received his second Golden Lark from Lu Ning, which was also the most important award, and bowed to express his gratitude to the senior musician. Then Lu Qin turned around, straightened his back and raised the award in his hand high to everyone. The atmosphere in the main hall of the National Grand Theater suddenly reached its climax. Because the 5,000 guests and audiences present were witnessing a period of history and a story in the Chinese pop music world. They were witnessing the journey of a young singer to the top. They were honored. This was a scene that was bound to be recorded in the history of Chinese pop music. As for the story, wouldn't it be the most interesting story for a couple to win the best male and female singers at the same time? There was no doubt that the news of Lu Qin and Qin Fei winning the best male and female singers on the Chinese original songs chart would inevitably make the headlines in the entertainment sections of major media tomorrow. Hooray! Equally excited was the Lu Qin anchor room of Whale TV. More than 3 million fans and audiences had gathered in this special network space, celebrating Lu Qin's victory in their own way. The best male singer, I Qin, deserve it. Scattering flowers to celebrate, I Qin am mighty. Haha, sure enough, Lu Qin won the best male singer. The Golden Songs chart is fair. I guessed right. I Qin am the best male singer and I Fei am the best female singer. The combination of the two is invincible. The people of Beijing send their congratulations. The people of Shanghai send their congratulations. Hangzhou. Along with the congratulatory bullet screen, there were so many gifts that it was terrifying. The total number of fish balls received by the anchor room was skyrocketing at an alarming rate. It was estimated that after the live broadcast of the award ceremony, Lu Qin could get at least 3 million plus gifts from Whale TV, making him a legend of this online live broadcasting platform. At the same time, Lu Qin's studio timely updated a new blog post, expressing sincere gratitude to all his fans who supported Lu Qin for winning the best male singer of the global Chinese original songs chart. And this blog post in just a few minutes had more than 500,000 views, and the number of forwards, comments and replies was even more amazing. Lu Chen's fans left messages on the official V of the studio and Lu Chen's blog to express their congratulations, hoping that he could make persistent efforts to make another good achievement. The only regret was that Lu Chen could not appear on the network in person, and he had to deliver his acceptance speech on the spot. Thank you. Thank you to the organizing committee and judging panel of the Global Chinese Top Songs chart for giving me this honor. And thank you, Mr. Lu, for personally awarding me this award. Facing the audience that gradually quieted down, Lu Chen held the Golden Lark Award and said sincerely, "Before I came here, I told the media that I hoped to win the Best Male Singer. In fact, I just took it as an encouragement for myself. It was my dream. Now, my dream has come true." His voice suddenly rose a notch and he won warm applause from the audience again. When the applause stopped, Lu Chen continued, "There are many people I want to thank: my family, my friends, my teachers and seniors, and my girlfriend who is always by my side." He looked at Qin Fei, his eyes affectionate and gentle. Qin Fei smiled and waved her hand, and the corners of her eyes were faintly glistening with tears. She was happy for Lu Chen and proud for Lu Chen. She remembered the scene when she first met Lu Chen, and the moment when she had feelings for Lu Chen for the first time. That moment of love made her grasp the happiness of a lifetime. In contrast, it was not important whether he could win the grand prize or not. The two looked at each other and had the same thought. It was just that the scene was not suitable for public displays of affection. Lu Chen retracted his gaze and continued, "For me, music is one of the most important parts of my life. It carries my happiness, anger, sorrow and joy as well as my dreams and wishes." Although Lu Chen had now focused his career on movies and had been busy with his first movie for months, he had not released a new album or single. However, in his heart, his career in pop music was still incomparably important and irreplaceable. The dream in 2015 changed Lu Chen's life. It was music that led him to embark on a completely different life path. It was music that made him and Qin Fei connect, and it was music that gave him thousands of fans. Music had become an indispensable part of Lu Chen's life. He fell deeply in love with music. He liked to hold the guitar and sing by himself. He liked to stay in the recording studio and pursue perfect performance over and over again. He liked to sing loudly in front of thousands of fans. "One day when I am old and look back on this day, I think the glory that music has brought me at this moment will make me have no regrets, because I love music as my life." Lu Chen's voice echoed over the main hall, sonorous and powerful. "Thank you for witnessing this moment together. Thank you, everyone." As the applause rang out, the audience and guests stood up again to pay their respects to Lu Chen. They congratulated Lu Chen and thanked him for his contribution to the Chinese pop music world. Lu Chen, who won the Best Male Singer, did not immediately leave the stage after delivering his acceptance speech. According to the arrangement of the organizing committee, he sang a song for the live audience. This song was chosen by Lu Chen himself early. At that time he did not know if he would have a chance to sing it. This song was "Chasing Dream with a Childlike Heart." Where is the world full of flowers? If it really exists, I will definitely go there. I want to stand on the highest mountain there. I don't care if it is a cliff or not. Live hard and love hard even if I have to sacrifice my life. I don't ask for anyone's satisfaction as long as I am worthy of myself. I have never chosen to give up my ideals. Even in the dusty days. Run forward, facing the cold eyes and ridicule. How can you feel the vastness of life without going through hardships? Fate can't make us kneel down and beg for mercy. Even if our arms are full of blood. Keep running with the pride of a childlike child. How can you see the shine of life if you don't persist to the end? Instead of lingering on, it's better to burn to your heart's content. One day it will sprout again. At this moment, only this song can sing the love and passion in Lu Chen's heart. From nothing to the top, he used less than 2 years to finish the journey that countless singers have never walked in their lives. Even with the memory wealth from another world, he also paid his own countless efforts, bitter persistence and persistent pursuit for this. Lu Chen held the guitar and sang with his head held high. The whole world seemed to be cheering for him. On this stage where everyone was watching, his light was so dazzling. Chapter 526. Lu Chen opened his eyes in a daze, and his consciousness was not very clear. It was completely out of daily habit. Lu Chen reached into the quilt beside him, but he touched nothing. Lu Chen was a little puzzled. He turned over and stretched out his arm, accurately grabbing the phone on the bedside table. He turned on the screen and the time displayed on it surprised him. It was already 10:03 in the morning. Lu Chen instinctively sat up on the bed, and the dull pain in his head made him groan in a low voice. Memories emerged in his mind like a tide, and Lu Qin shook his head helplessly. Last night, after the Global Chinese Top Songs Award ceremony, he was dragged by Liao Jia and Tan Hong to a private club to celebrate, and then he was forced to drink a lot of alcohol. Lu Qin felt that he had never drunk so much alcohol in his life, so it was the first time he drank so much that he passed out. As for how he came back later, Lu Qin had almost forgotten it. It was also because his physical fitness was good enough, otherwise the hangover would not have been so easy. However, the habit of morning exercise was still broken. The biological clock could not withstand the power of alcohol. "You're awake." At this time, Qin Fei'er, who was in pajamas, opened the bedroom door and walked in. She asked with concern, "Does your head hurt? I'll give you 2 aspirin and you can sleep a little longer." Lu Qin took a long breath and smiled, "I'm fine, no need." Qin Fei'er sat on the edge of the bed and said coquettishly, "You still have the nerve to say that? You drank so much last night and I couldn't even persuade you. They are really bad people and Brother Tan didn't stop them." Lu Qin could only smile bitterly. Excessive smoking and drinking were very harmful to singers. Lu Qin did not smoke and he rarely drank alcohol. At most, he would drink red wine or low-alcohol beer to protect his throat. But the situation last night was different. In addition to the 2 brothers, Liao Jia and Tan Hong, there were also Yuming, Lin Jijia and other big names in the circle, who could not be disrespected. 1 glass for 1 glass for another and 1 glass for another. Lu Qin had to drink all of them, no one missing. In Jianghu there were many times when one had no choice. Qin Fei'er said a few words and then said, "I prepared breakfast for you. It's in the kitchen." Lu Qin pulled her over and kissed her on the cheek. "Thank you, wife." "Go go go." Qin Fei'er smiled and pushed him away. "Hurry up, you have an important interview this afternoon." In the afternoon, the interviewer was a reporter from the Central TV Variety channel. The work had already been arranged so they couldn't miss the appointment. They had to wait at the studio on time. Lu Qin cheered up, immediately got up to put on his clothes and ran to the bathroom to wash up. Lu Qin usually exercised a lot and was busy with work, so he had a good appetite. Although the hangover affected his appetite to some extent, he still cleaned up all of the breakfast. When he came out, Qin Fei'er, who had been sitting at the table with him, handed Lu Qin a napkin and then asked with a smile, "Do you feel anything different at home?" After eating and drinking, Qin Fei'er, who had been sitting at the table with him, handed Lu Qin a napkin and then asked with a smile, "Do you feel anything different at home?" Lu Qin took the napkin and wiped his mouth. He looked around in confusion and soon found the answer. His home was a little different. On the left side of the living room, there was a beautiful glass display cabinet, on which 5 golden awards were neatly placed. Lu Qin couldn't help but get up and walk over. He asked in surprise, "When did you buy it?" Qin Fei'er followed him closely, reached out and hugged his waist and asked, "It was just delivered this morning. Do you like it?" Lu Qin nodded hard. These 5 Golden Lark Awards were what he and Qin Fei'er had won at the Global Chinese Original Songs Award ceremony last night. They were Media Recommendation, Best Composition, Best Male Singer, Best Female Singer, and Best Album. Among them, Lu Qin was Best Composition and Best Male Singer, and the other 3 were won by Qin Fei'er. Among these 5 awards, the most interesting one was probably Best Album. As the last heavyweight award on the Golden Songs chart, Lu Qin's The Ordinary Road and Qin Fei'er's Woman Flower were both nominated, and they were both popular candidates. In the end, the couple's duel was won by the woman. After the winner was announced, Lu Qin even went on stage to sing a love song with Qin Fei'er as the finale of the award ceremony. Later, when they were drinking, Lu Qin heard from Tan Hong that when the panel of judges chose the best album, the votes for these 2 albums were very close. Woman Flower narrowly beat The Ordinary Road by only 3 votes. Tan Hong was a member of the panel of judges for the Global Chinese Original Songs chart, so he knew the inside story. However, according to Liao Jia, no matter who won, the best album would be Lu Qin's album. Recalling the bits and pieces of last night, Lu Qin's lips couldn't help but curl up into a smile. Qin Fei'er put his delicate and round chin on his shoulder and said with a smile, "Now I have 1 more award than you. In the future, all the awards we won will be placed here. Let's see who has more." In the past, the 2 have also won awards, especially for Qin Fei'er, but the awards were placed in their respective studios, not in their own homes. The Golden Lark Award was undoubtedly the beginning. Lu Qin said with a smile, "I'm afraid this cabinet can't hold all of them, right?" For Lu Qin, the Global Chinese Original Songs chart was the peak of his music career. In fact, it was also a new beginning. The road ahead for him was still very, very long, and there were infinite prospects. Although Qin Fei had been in the music industry for more than 10 years, she had just completed the transformation of her career and embarked on the road of all-round development in film, television, and song. In the future she would definitely win many awards. Qin Fei said domineeringly, then we'll buy another cabinet and we'll only put the most important ones. As for the other small awards, we'll throw them to the studio. Lu Qin chuckled, turned around and held her in his arms. He lowered his head and gave her a deep and long kiss. Qin Fei welcomed him warmly. After being kissed until her eyes were like silk and her eyes were full of spring water, she broke free from Lu Chen's arms and said, I have an appointment to have lunch with Sister Lucy at noon. We're going to be late. Thinking of his sister's serious look, Lu Chen had to reluctantly let go of the beauty. Yesterday's glorious moment had passed, and life had to go on. In the foreseeable future there would always be busy work. Lu Chen was ready to face new challenges. Chapter 527. Time flew by. Unknowingly, 2016 had passed, and 2017 had come quietly. On the first day of the new year, Lu Chen's first lunch was at Suji restaurant with his girlfriend and sister. There were many private restaurants in the capital that were not familiar to the public. They were often hidden in deep alleys and corners. Only real foodies knew the exact location, and they often needed to make a reservation to enjoy the delicious food. Suji restaurant, located on the edge of the Third Ring Road, was one of them. Its chef was a retired special chef of the state banquet. He enjoyed a high reputation in the industry, so this restaurant had become a frequent place for many celebrities in the capital. In a small private room, Lu Shi, who had just tasted a braised deer tendon in a clay pot, wiped her mouth with satisfaction. She elegantly picked up the teacup, cleared her mouth and said casually, When I go back this time, my mother asked me to ask you, when are you going to get married? Last night, Lu Shi did not attend the Global Chinese Original Songs Award ceremony. It was not that she did not want to come, but that she had something important to do in her hometown in Binhai, so she could not be there. Of course, she also visited her family. Her sister had not been home for a long time. Now Lu Chen's studio was supported by Lu Shi alone. Although Lu Chen had temporarily put the focus of his career in Hong Kong, it did not mean that he could relax in the capital. There were many things in all aspects. For example, at the end of the year the accounts of the studio needed to be checked, and the amount of money involved was quite large. Lu Shi was completely tied to Lu Chen's side. Her sister was so busy that she did not even have time to fall in love. So when she saw Lu Chen and Qin Fei being intimate with each other, she was a little unhappy. Lu Chen was stunned and did not know how to answer. He had not thought about this problem until now. What? Lu Shi rolled her eyes at him and said, Are you going to keep dragging Fei like this? Of course you men are fine. The older you are, the more popular you are. We women do not have much youth to squander. Besides, Mom still wants to hold a grandson. Lu Chen's surprise turned into a bitter smile. Qin Fei blushed and said, There's no rush. Let's talk about it in 2 years. In fact, she and Lu Chen had talked about marriage before. The two of them had unanimously decided to put it aside for the time being. It wasn't because of the influence of the fans, but mainly because the two of them were currently in the development stage of their careers, and it wasn't the right time to get married. As for having a child, Qin Fei's idea was to retire after having a child in the future. The Heavenly Queen was also immortal. Whether she had children or not was a completely different matter. Lu Shi said, Don't take care of him all the time. It's not a bad thing to get married early, but you have to make your own life decisions. I don't mean to force you. Lu Chen heaved a sigh of relief. I understand. Lu Shi shook her head, exasperated. Up to you. After lunch, Lu Chen first sent Qin Fei back to Zikenjiwen, and then drove his sister to the studio. In the office, Lu Shi took out a prepared financial statement and gave it to Lu Chen. The content of the statement was the basic income and expenditure of Lu Chen Studio in 2016. For Lu Chen Studio, which had been established for a short time, 2016 was undoubtedly a year of rapid development and harvest. In this year, the staff of the studio increased several times, and the office space was also moved to the art park where it was currently located, with more space for expansion. Although the increase of staff and the change of office space brought a lot of costs, and the construction of a high-grade recording studio also cost a huge amount of money, compared to the income it was nothing at all. A Autumn in My Heart, and A Full House of Romance, made Lu Chen Studio a dark horse in the film and television industry. The benefits brought by the super high ratings made the studio earn a lot of money. Just these two popular TV series alone, the studio's profit was steadily over 100 million, and it was a pure profit. In addition, in 2016, Lu Qin endorsed a total of 7 brand companies, with a total endorsement fee of more than 30 million. He sold nearly 30 original songs and earned more than 20 million. Coupled with the sales profit of The Ordinary Road, the reward share of Whale TV, etc., Lu Qin has now firmly entered the ranks of hundreds of millions of stars, and his income can definitely be ranked in the top 3 in the circle. Such a money-making ability can be called terrifying. However, Lu Qin's money is not only made by himself. Those who cooperate with him have all made a lot of money, such as Beijing Television, Zhidong Satellite TV, Hygiene Satellite TV, Chenda Brothers, Crown Pictures, Flying Stone Records, etc., all of which have shared a delicious cake in cooperation. It was precisely because of this that many people came to the door to seek cooperation last year. In the circle, Lu Qin has become a popular cake sought after by many people. Fortunately, he went to Hong Kong, otherwise, it would be too late to entertain these visitors. A few days ago there was a venture capital firm, Lu, she said lightly, they want to inject capital into our studio, saying that they will help us go public in China. Listing? Then Lu Qin Studio must first upgrade to a company, recruit people to expand its base, and then open several more projects to increase its profit prospects. Coupled with huge follow-up investment and efforts, there is a possibility of success. Lu Qin's ambition is not that big for the time being, not reliable. His mind is very clear. At present, the development of the studio is fast enough. It should be appropriate to stabilize it. It is not advisable to blindly become bigger and stronger. It's not reliable, Lu, she said with a smile. We have made enough money. It doesn't matter whether we go public or not. It's good as long as we don't make a wedding dress for others. I heard that Mukin crowdfunding is going to go public in Hong Kong. As the founder of the crowdfunding website, Lu Qin also owns 10% of the original shares in Mukin crowdfunding that cannot be diluted. Once Mukin crowdfunding is successfully listed in Hong Kong, his assets can at least multiply several times. Lu Qin nodded. Basically, there's no big problem. If everything goes well, Mukin crowdfunding should be able to go public in Hong Kong in May or June this year. It can be said that the current money for Lu Qin is just a few numbers. Recalling that 2 years ago he worked hard in Beijing to repay the debt that his family seemed to never be able to pay off, he was really filled with emotion. Life is so wonderful and fate is so incredible. Seeing that Lu Qin was lost in his memories, Lu, she didn't say anything more. She quietly left the office so that Lu Qin could think quietly. In the afternoon, Lu Qin accepted an exclusive interview with CCTV Variety Channel in his office. At 7 o'clock in the evening, Lu Qin came to Ho Hai Forget Grass Bar, which he hadn't seen for a long time. Because here there was a meet and greet with his fans. Chapter 528. The global Chinese original songs chart ends magnificently, and 24 golden larks are taken. The music genius Lu Qin wins the Best Male Singer and Best Composer, creating a new idol legend. The biggest winner of the Golden Songs chart, Qin Fei wins the Best Female Singer, Best Album, and Media Recommendation. The Best Couple Glittering Golden Songs Award ceremony in the Chinese pop music circle. The stars shine, and the global Chinese original songs chart leads the new trend of the Chinese pop music circle. Sitting in the back seat of the business car, Lu Qin held a tablet computer and browsed through the entertainment section of today's major media websites. He got up too late in the morning, had lunch with his sister at noon, and had an interview with CCTV in the afternoon, so he finally had some time to browse the news of the online media. As expected, the news related to the Global Chinese Original Songs Award ceremony occupied the entertainment headlines of the mainstream media. The awards, the details of the ceremony, the behind-the-scenes footage, and so on were all available. Coupled with the photos of the stars, it created a very lively atmosphere. In fact, this was very normal. The holding of the first Global Chinese Original Songs Award ceremony had a profound impact on China, Hong Kong, and the Chinese music circle all over the world. The highest level of specifications, CCTV's global satellite broadcast, and generous and attractive rewards were bound to bring new waves of Chinese pop music. In this music festival, Qin Fei, who won the Best Female Singer, Best Album and Media Recommendation, was undoubtedly the biggest winner. She was very proud of her peers. Although Lu Qin only won 2 of the 6 nominations, the 2 heavyweight awards of Best Male Singer and Best Composer also pushed him to the peak of his music career. With the help of these 2 awards, Lu Qin could really be said to be among the top singers in the Chinese music circle. In the past, he only had the corresponding popularity and strength, but now he was certified. Not to mention that this honor is invisible and intangible, it represents real benefits. Not to mention the bonus of the Golden Lark Award with the double awards of Best Male Singer and Best Composer in hand, the price of Lu Chen's commercial performance will be at least 50% higher. As for writing songs for others, the price of more than 1 million yuan will make people speechless. Because what he got was the highest achievement in the Chinese pop music world. There was no shortage of media outlets who sourly said that the Golden Melody Award ceremony last night had turned into a couple show between Lu Qin and Chen Feier. However, more media outlets praised the organizing committee and the panel of judges, because the awards were basically not too controversial, which was quite in line with the results of the previous online survey. For a music award like the Global Chinese Original Songs Chart, it was very rare to be able to do this. In the past, there would always be some problems in the selection of music awards or movie awards. The popular ones would always die, and the unpopular ones would become the dark horses. Then from time to time, there would be a few double yokes, or multiple yokes. When it came to seniority, the audience's mockery and ridicule would fall on deaf ears and affect their credibility. However, the organizing committee and the panel of judges would still pretend to be deaf and mute. This had become a common problem in these awards. Under such circumstances, it was unrealistic for Lu Qin to win the Best Male Singer Award, which represented the highest honor. The Global Chinese Original Songs Chart had, at least, reversed this trend to a large extent. After reading the entertainment news, he looked at his blog. Lu Chen's personal blog and the official blog of his studio had been flooded with messages. People in the circle, whether he knew them or not, and countless fans had sent their congratulations. If Lu Qin wanted to reply to them one by one, it would probably take him several months. Your fans are almost catching up with me. Chen Feier was holding the same tablet and browsing the blog. She seemed to have discovered a new continent. I'm only short of 2 million. As the largest online interactive community in China and one of the top 3 in the world, almost all domestic stars and artists had their own verified accounts in Wave's blog, and the number of fans represented the popularity index to a large extent. At present, Chen Feier had more than 36 million fans, which had doubled from a year ago. This was mainly due to the 2 TV series she starred in, Autumn in My Heart, and Full of Romance, which had attracted a large number of fans for her. On the other hand, Lu Qin had more than 34 million fans. Although he was short of 2 million fans from his girlfriend, it should be noted that his blog had been open more than a year ago, and the speed of the increase was terrifying. Most importantly, the blog fans of the two were real, and they did not cheat by spending money to buy fans. The surge in the number of blog fans brought about amazing potential benefits. If a big V like Chen Feier advertised on the blog, the price would be at least a few million. Lu Qin said seriously, then you have to work hard. Don't let me catch up with you. Chen Feier rolled her eyes at him. Haven't you caught up with me yet? Lu Qin couldn't help laughing. He put down the tablet and held Chen Feier in his arms. Are you happy? Chen Feier pinched him, but she nodded. The atmosphere in the car was sweet and warm. After a while, Chen Feier straightened up again. She tidied up her messy black hair and asked, is the script for the TV series to be shot this year out? According to the plan, after Lu Chen's first movie, A Chinese Ghost Story, was released, he would return to China to shoot the third TV series, which was also the last finale of his urban romance trilogy. Of course, Chen Feier was still the heroine. Lu Qin looked at her in surprise and replied, you haven't written it yet? What's wrong? Chen Feier certainly wouldn't ask about this for no reason. Her Xingshi long song line hasn't been finished yet. Chen Feier explained, a lot of friends asked about it and, anyway, everyone is very concerned. It was more than concern. The 2 TV series, Autumn in My Heart, and Full House of Romance, were very popular and created a ratings miracle in South Korea. Lu Qin left his golden rice bowl and went to Xiangjiang to shoot a movie. It really made many people who had tasted the sweetness or wanted a share of the cake feel like they had been f***ed. Lu Qin was far away in Xiangjiang and temporarily out of the domestic circle. So many people found Chen Feier, either directly or indirectly, to inquire about the news. There had been some rumors in the circle before, but after all, it was not as credible as Lu Chen's personal confirmation. If the news could be confirmed to be true, then it could be carried out in advance. Chen Feier couldn't help herself. Today she had received so many phone calls that her hands were tired. All kinds of connections were beating around the bush in the name of congratulations, which made her feel very helpless. Lu Qin understood Chen Feier's difficulties. He thought for a moment and said, "I'm sure I can finish the script this month. As for the date of shooting, let's tentatively set it in March." The news could be released first so that Chen Feier could explain to others. As for cooperation, that was another matter. Now Lu Qin's studio was not short of partners. Chen Feier asked curiously, "Have you thought about the name of the new TV series?" Lu Qin smiled and said, "I've thought about it. It's called You from the Star." Chapter 529. Night shrouded the capital. The huge city with a population of more than 30 million showed a completely different appearance from the daytime. The long street was bustling with traffic, and the flowing light and shadow and the neon lights hanging on the buildings interweaved a fantastic and blurred world. The Mercedes-Benz business car that Lu Qin and Chen Feier were riding in was crowded in the traffic, slowly moving forward. It was the evening rush hour, and it was natural for the capital to become a congested city. Fortunately, it was not far from the destination, and they believed that they could arrive at Forget Grass Bar at the scheduled time. The fan appreciation party held at Forget Grass Bar tonight was already arranged. The fans who attended the party were all selected through a lottery. Only fans who bought the hardcover limited edition and commemorative package of The Ordinary Road can participate in the lottery. Therefore, there were not many people, less than 200, so it was placed at Forget Grass Bar. Lu Qin hasn't been to Forget Grass Bar for some time. This bar, which was already famous in Hohai, hasn't changed much. The signboard is still the same signboard, the door is still the same door, and David, who is standing behind the bar mixing drinks and flirting, is still the same David. However, the notice that no guests are accepted has long been hung out, and only those who have an invitation letter can enter. In addition to the lucky fans who were selected, there were also some friends and acquaintances of Lu Chen's circle who came to the bar tonight. Lin Jijie came. The music director of Flying Stone Records now has the title of Deputy General Manager. Now he is very proud of his success, and his relationship with Lu Qin is not the same as before. The 3 girls from MSN came. Mu Xiaochu is Lu Chen's sister. Today's day is so special that she would rather turn down all her work and come to support. The Bionics came, and Qin Hanyang can be regarded as an old friend of Lu Qin. Sister Li came, but the Little Tiger group didn't come, because the latter is participating in the evening program of Shanghai TV station and can't come. Then Lu Qin met Chen Jinhao, Sister Na, and their son backstage. As the owner of Nepenthes Bar, the current Chen Jinhao could be considered as incompetent to the extreme. He handed the bar over to his friends to manage and hid at home to be a nanny. If tonight was a rare opportunity, he probably wouldn't have brought his wife and child here. Wow! Chen Feier was captivated by Chen Jinhao's son at first glance. He's so cute. Can I hug you? She looked at Sister Na expectantly. Sister Na smiled gently and handed the child in her arms to Chen Feier. Sister Na, who had given birth, had gained a lot of weight and whiter. Her whole body exuded a unique motherly radiance, which made her a bit more feminine charm. Compared to before, she was actually a lot more beautiful. Although she became famous with the song, "I Want to Have a Home," written by Lu Qin, after becoming famous, Sister Na did not continue to follow the path she once yearned for. Instead, she stayed at home to support her husband and children. Basically, she retired from the music industry. Chen Feier carefully took it. The little guy, who was only a few months old, was not afraid of strangers at all. He opened his big eyes and giggled, and then stretched out his chubby hand to greet Chen Feier, making Chen Feier smile. "What's his name?" Sister Na proudly replied, "Chen Kongping, Healthy Kong, Safe Ping." He didn't ask for great wealth, only health and peace. Chen Jinhao's son was born in September last year. He was born with a weight of 8 pounds, a real fat son. Lu Qin wasn't in Beijing at the full moon, so he asked his sister to send a congratulatory gift. Speaking of which, this was the second time Lu Qin saw Chen Jinhao's son, and Chen Feier was the first time. Chen Feier liked the little guy very much. Chen Jinhao, who has become a father, has lost a lot of his character. Even the lines on his face have softened a lot. He said very seriously, "If you like, you can also have one." Lu Qin smiled and said, "We are not in a hurry. Let's start as godparents first." Sister Na immediately agreed, "Okay, then let's set a date for the banquet." When she was pregnant, Lu Qin jokingly said that he wanted to be the child's godfather. Now it was like bringing up the past again. Sister Na was very happy. She has no intention of entering the entertainment industry again. In the future, she will basically stay at home to take care of the child or help Chen Jinhao manage the bar, but maybe their son will walk on this road in the future. Then with Lu Qin and Qin Feier as godparents, Qin Kangping, who is still in swaddling clothes, has a starting point far beyond his peers, and the same road will inevitably be much smoother. Even if he doesn't enter the entertainment industry, there are still many advantages and no disadvantages. Qin Jinhao said with a wry smile, "Why are you in such a hurry? Let's not talk about this first. It's about to start." Sister Na stared at her husband angrily. Qin Jinhao had to raise his hand and surrender. Okay, then set a date. Qin Feier smiled and teased Qin Kangping with her fingers. Call her godmother, ah. She suddenly let out a cry of surprise. Everyone was taken aback. What's wrong? Qin Feier was at a loss and said with a red face, he seems to have peed and it's oozing out. Everyone was suddenly happy. Sister Na smiled and took the child back to change the diaper. Qin Feier found an opportunity to secretly say to Lu Qin, let's have another child in a few years. Lu Qin was dumbfounded. At 7 o'clock in the evening, Lu Qin's fan appreciation party officially began in Forget Grass Bar. All of the 188 fans who won the lucky prize were present. It is said that after the results of the lottery were announced by Lu Qin Studios' official V, some fans in the QQ group offered a high price of 1 or 2,000 yuan to buy the invitation, but most of the lucky ones did not sell it, and some even came all the way to Beijing to participate in this fan meeting. As for the other thousands of fans who did not win the lottery, they don't have to be too disappointed, because the fan appreciation party will be broadcast live on Lu Qin's anchor room in Whale TV. Whale TV also specially made a large advertisement on the home page and opened a special column. It is estimated that the number of online anchors in the evening is likely to reach a new high. The bar was already full of seats. When Lu Qin appeared on the stage with the Nirvana band, there was a warm applause and cheers from the audience. Many fans raised their support fluorescent signs and shouted the name of Lu Qin, making the atmosphere of this small scene very hot. Lu Qin is dressed very casually today, a pair of jeans and a long-sleeved cotton shirt. The appearance of him holding a guitar seems to be no different from when he sang for the bar guest here, making Qin Jinhao, Sister Na, and Qin Hanyang, who are familiar with him, vaguely have a feeling of going back in time. The same young, the same handsome, the same friendly boy next door. Only now, Lu Qin has the kind of self-confidence and free and easy temperament that only belongs to a real big star. This is a transformation. Chapter 530. Good evening, everyone. Lu Qin smiled and waved to the fans at the scene, as if he was greeting a friend. Many celebrity artists like to hold fan appreciation parties in bars or small venues because the distance between the two parties was very close. It invisibly eliminated the estrangement between each other, allowing these lucky fans to truly feel the charm of their idols. Good evening. The response of the fans was very enthusiastic. The atmosphere created by less than 200 fans made people feel as if they were at a concert, noisy, enthusiastic, and hot. Lu Qin adjusted the position of the microphone, then said with a smile, "Thank you for coming to this fan appreciation party. You are all my best fans and best friends. I heard that some friends flew over from Qionghai and Xizjiang. It's really hard and not easy. So the first song tonight is dedicated to the fans and friends from afar. A song, The Ordinary Road, for everyone." Applause rang out and pieces of support fluorescent signs were waved, reflecting the lights on the stage. Lu Qin held the guitar, he took a deep breath, and his expression became serious and solemn. His eyes looked forward as if he was looking at the future through the void. Wandering on the road, do you want to go via? Fragile, proud, that was once my appearance. Boiling, restless, where you going via? Enigmatic, silent, story, are you really listening? I once crossed mountains and seas and passed through a sea of people. Everything I once had was scattered like smoke in the blink of an eye. I once lost, disappointed, and lost all direction, until I saw that ordinary is the only answer. As the title song of Lu Qin's second album, The Ordinary Road has long been a work that fans are familiar with. It is also one of Lu Qin's representative works. Hearing such a familiar melody, such a familiar voice, the fans at the scene quickly quieted down. They listened attentively and enjoyed the unique charm of the live show. At this moment, for those fans sitting in front of the computer or holding the tablet phone to watch the live broadcast of Whale TV, the feeling is very different. Especially those loyal fans who had been following Lu Qin and had witnessed his growth, they were all inexplicably touched. Time flew by. The past could not be repeated, but bits and pieces of memories remained in his heart. These beautiful, warm and touching memories were reawakened by the song, The Ordinary Road. Tomorrow is already in Hia. The road where the wind blows is still far away. Where did your story end? After the song ended, the atmosphere in the venue froze for 3 seconds, and then there was an explosion of applause. Someone even whistled loudly. Thank you everyone. Lu Chen looked around with a smile on his face and bowed to express his gratitude. The applause became even more enthusiastic, and the sound of cheers and applause rose and fell one after another. The sound waves were about to overturn the roof of the bar. After a few minutes, the atmosphere at the scene finally returned to normal. Lu Chen said, "As you all know, last night I was lucky to win the Best Composition and Best Male Singer awards in the Global Chinese Original Songs chart. Although these 2 awards were chosen by the panel of judges, I think that without everyone's support and love, I definitely wouldn't have been able to win these 2 awards. Of course, I also wanted to make tonight's thank you party legitimate. Otherwise, if I didn't win, I could only change it to a fan meeting so that I could vent my bitterness." There was a burst of laughter in the bar and then there was applause. Lu Chen continued, "The past year has been like a dream for me." He spoke softly and said some of his feelings and thoughts. He was not pretentious. It was as if he was chatting with a friend, letting his fans see a more real side of him. Peeling off the halo of a star idol, Lu Chen was not much different from an ordinary big boy next door. He was kind, easygoing, and never treated his fans high and mighty. After chatting for a few minutes, Lu Chen said, "Thank you for listening to me patiently. There must be some friends who are scolding me for not singing yet. I want to listen to songs." Everyone immediately burst into laughter. In the anchor room of Whale TV, there were a lot of fans who sent barrage messages to listen to songs. Then these impatient guys were scolded by the big guys. Lu Chen expressed his understanding, "Then I will sing a song. Sing a relaxing song. What do you think of singing a new song?" "A new song?" The fans were overjoyed and shouted in unison, "Good." Their voices were so neat and loud. Being a fan of Lu Chen is actually a very happy thing. Why do you say that? Because Lu Chen can always come up with 1 or several new songs from time to time, and these songs are all excellent and pleasant to listen to, which surprises his fans constantly. In the 2 albums You Who Sat Next to Me and The Ordinary Road, the 20 songs were all Lu Chen's own originals. In the atmosphere of plagiarism and imitation in the pop music world, he was like a vast clear stream blowing away the filth, letting everyone see the hope and future of Chinese pop music. As a fan of Lu Chen, how can they not be happy? The Golden Melody Chart judges awarded the 2 awards of Best Composition and Best Male Singer to Lu Chen instead of his more experienced and more famous competitors, which is also an affirmation and praise of Lu Chen's contribution. Since the album The Ordinary Road, Lu Chen has not released a new work for a long time. Although his singing of The Love of My Life in Hong Kong caused a great response, it was a Cantonese song after all. Now hearing that Lu Chen is going to sing a new song, whether it is the fans at the scene or in the anchor room, they are naturally very surprised. Lu Chen deliberately sold a little suspense. "This song needs 2 people to sing, so I have to invite a friend to come on stage, so who is willing? Those who are willing, please raise your hand." Many fans were a little dumbfounded. Since it is a new song, how can others sing it? But even more fans raised their hands regardless, shouting, Me. Lu Chen smiled and pointed to the right side of the stage and said, "Then this friend, the girl in the white dress, is you." Everyone's eyes looked over at the same time and they were suddenly happy. The girl pointed by Lu Chen was very beautiful and cute, and everyone was familiar with her. She is a member of MSN, Lu Chen's sister in everyone's eyes, and the best sister in the hearts of all fans. Mu Xiaochu. Chapter 531. With a shy smile, Mu Xiaochu stood up from her seat and waved to everyone. Although she didn't put on heavy makeup tonight, she was wearing a beautiful white princess dress and a professional stylist. A beautiful and lovely girl with a beautiful and lovely temperament was presented in front of everyone. Little sister Xiaochu. The fans really liked her. Everyone was laughing and shouting her name. Just now, Lu Chen had obviously played a little joke on them. This was undoubtedly a prearranged program, but it still gave the fans at the scene and in the live broadcast room a big surprise. Perhaps many of the fans who liked Lu Chen didn't like Chen Fei or his real girlfriend. As for the reason, everyone understood, but there were not many people who didn't like Mu Xiaochu. The brother-sister friendship between Lu Chen and Mu Xiaochu was really an anomaly in the entertainment circle, which was like a big dye vat. Some jealous people said that Mu Xiaochu relied on Lu Chen to get to the top, but the eyes of the fans were sharp. Mu Xiaochu was very talented and she was very hard-working. The most important thing was that she was cheerful and kind. She usually posted on her blog and never got involved in the right and wrong of the circle. She gave people the impression that she was simple and kind. Such a beautiful, lovely and simple girl would naturally be protected by the fans. Occasionally, anti-fans appeared, but they were often criticized by the majority of the fans. In the cheers, Mu Xiaochu walked on the stage, took the microphone and stood side by side with Lu Qin. Her face had a faint blush, showing a bit of joy and shyness. Lu Qin said, "This song will be sung by little sister Xiaochu and me." Everyone applauded. Needless to say, everyone clapped their hands hard, rendering the atmosphere lively. The prelude of the music sounded. Mu Xiaoku was holding the microphone. She turned her head to look at Lu Qin and sang, "I've heard your song, my big brother. I understand your heart, your joy, anger, sorrow and joy." Lu Qin looked at her and smiled gently. "Can I ask your name? Because you are my soulmate, I have another friend." Mu Xiaochu avoided his gaze. "I don't care if you remember my name. I just want to hear your new song and your voice." "Lu Qin, I sincerely thank you for your love and your sincerity. I will send this moment to you with music. May your voice always accompany me. I will do my best to accompany you with the most beautiful melody," the two sang in harmony. Although they didn't practice for a long time and were a little unfamiliar at first, they soon became very tacit and sang the true charm of "I've heard your song." Mu Xiaochu's voice was sweet and melodious, and Lu Qin's was clear and calm. But what really touched people's hearts in this song was not the singer's voice and melody, but the lyrics. On this stage, Mu Xiaochu was not a member of MSN, a well-known girl group. She was a fan of Lu Qin, a fan who deeply loved him. She used her voice to express her admiration. The duet between the two was the interaction between a big brother star and a little sister fan. It was so warm and sweet that it made people feel that it was a wonderful thing to have such feelings in this world. The sincerity was integrated into the song and melody, and the charm of the music was like the fragrance of osmanthus flowers drifting quietly. "Oh, my favorite little sister Xiaochu. Get out of here, little sister Xiaochu is mine and can only be mine. Everyone draw your sword, let's fight to the death for little sister Xiaochu. You bunch of weak chickens, little sister Xiaochu will not like you, only a hot-blooded man like me. Alas, in fact, I very much hope to see little sister Xiaochu and my Qin together, what do you think? Yes, the two are very compatible. Yu Fei is also not bad, I might as well marry both of them. Ah, I like having a harem the most. Single female lead, it must be a single female lead, all the harem should die, not a single female lead will be removed from the stage." Support? In the Whale TV anchor room, many fans were making a lot of noise, but their attention was not on the song. But after all, those who liked to quarrel were in the minority. Most of the fans were listening carefully, and then expressed their love with the fish balls in their hands. The lyrics of this song, "I've Heard Your Song," were very simple and straightforward, without deep connotation, and the melody was also inclined to the general flow, but under the joint interpretation of Lu Qin and Mu Xiaochu, it gave people full of warmth and emotion. "I've heard your song, my big brother. I wish you all the best and happy every day. I sincerely thank you for your love and your true feelings. I will give you this moment with music." After singing, Lu Qin turned around and opened his arms to Mu Xiaochu with a smile. "Thank you." Mu Xiaochu pursed his lips, shyly hugged Lu Qin, and then bowed to thank the fans. Everyone applauded desperately and someone shouted, "Sing one more song." Although it was Lu Qin's fan appreciation party in the evening, at this moment on this stage Mu Xiaochu's popularity was no less than that of Lu Qin. Qin Fei, who was sitting in the VIP seat, was also applauding. Qin Fei, knew Mu Xiaochu and Lu Qin for exactly the same time. Her relationship with Mu Xiaochu was also very good, so she actually understood the feelings that Mu Xiaochu had for Lu Qin. Not only was it the friendship between brother and sister, but the hazy love was a girl's longing, but Mu Xiaochu knew how to restrain herself. She was not like many girls who dared to love and hate, and dared to pour out her heart bluntly. Instead, she hid this love deep in her heart and had no intention of intervening in the relationship between Lu Qin and Qin Fei. To be honest, it was impossible for Qin Fei to say that she did not have a little bit of jealousy. Women in love were always selfish. They hoped that their lover would always belong to them and could not tolerate any covetousness from others. But for the simple and kind Mu Xiaochu, Qin Fei really did not have any jealousy. The most important thing was that she knew that Lu Qin only had feelings for Mu Xiaochu as a brother and sister. Maybe time would dilute everything. She believed that when Mu Xiaochu grew up and matured, she would naturally find true love. Chen Fei thought to herself and sent Mu Xiaochu off the stage with applause. Of course, Lu Chen was still on the stage. Tonight he was the protagonist. After singing "I've Heard Your Song" with Mu Xiaochu, he continued to sing "The Brightest Star in the Night Sky," "You Who Sat Next to Me," "Jiangnan," and other well-known works. During this period, as special guests, the Bionics and MSN went on stage respectively and sang their own famous works, which made the fans present satisfied and pushed the atmosphere of the scene to a climax. Note: "I've Heard Your Song" lyricist/composer, Wang Yan. Chapter 532. The passage of time was always so fast. Unknowingly, it was already past 9 o'clock in the evening. The Lu Chen's fan appreciation party held in Forget Grass Bar was coming to an end, but the atmosphere inside was getting hotter and hotter. From time to time, loud applause, laughter and cheers penetrated the thick walls and glass windows and spread to the pedestrian street outside. The pedestrians and tourists who came and went were attracted by the attention, and some tried to enter the bar to watch the fun, but they were blocked by the reject sign erected at the door and the security guards. On the stage, Lu Chen had just finished drinking a bottle of mineral water. Fine sweat appeared on his forehead, glittering under the light. Although interacting with fans and singing until now was really a little tired, his mood was still excited. Applause sounded again. Lu Chen grabbed the microphone with one hand, took a few deep breaths and said, "Next, I would like to invite another guest to the stage, a very special guest. She is the most important and one of the most precious people in my life, please. Chen Fei, Without waiting for Lu Chen to say the other party's name, the fans at the scene shouted out in unison. Lu Chen was shocked. "So you all know?" Everyone cast a contemptuous look at Lu Chen, who deliberately pretended to be ignorant. Chen Fei had been sitting there all the time. Lu Chen surrendered. "Well, I was wrong, so now let's invite Miss Chen Fei, Yeah. The cheers were so loud. The fans who were lucky enough to attend the fan appreciation party tonight were really happy. Not only could they communicate and interact with Lu Chen closely, but they could also enjoy the live singing of Lu Chen, the Bionics and MSN at the same time. Now it was Chen Fei. As the guests of the fan appreciation party, the Bionics and MSN undoubtedly had enough weight. Any one of them could be a surprise, but compared to Chen Fei, they were much worse. The meaning was different. Chen Fei was not only Lu Chen's girlfriend, but also the queen of pop music. More importantly, she won the title of Best Female Singer at the Golden Melody Awards ceremony last night. Lu Chen was the best male singer, and she was the best female singer. Together, they were invincible. Amidst the cheers, Chen Fei gracefully walked onto the stage. She smiled and said, "Thank you everyone. I wonder if there are any of you here who are my fans?" As soon as he finished speaking, arms were raised high into the air. "So many?" Chen Fei smiled and said, "Is it really okay for you to do this? You are making Mr. Lu Chen lose face." Lu Chen made a helpless expression and everyone burst into laughter. Chen Fei smiled and said, "Stop joking. The next song is also a new work by Mr. Lu Chen. You are the most precious, I hope everyone likes it." After that, Chen Fei turned to look at Lu Chen. Lu Chen nodded and reached out to her. Chen Fei took Lu Chen's hand, and the music accompaniment sounded at the same time. The two looked at each other and their hearts were connected. This silent, warm, tacit understanding quickly infected all the fans in the bar, and the scene instantly became very quiet. Lu Chen, next year at this time at this place. Chen Fei, remember to bring roses, tie and miss. Lu Chen, love is the most beautiful moment, and it is not tiring to give it to someone sincerely. Chen Fei, too much love will make you drunk. No matter how beautiful a person is, she will become haggard if no one loves her. Lu Chen, I will give you red roses. Chen Fei, you know I love to cry. Lu Chen, don't treat me with a lifetime of tears. The future will be beautiful with you and the dream will be more real. Chen Fei, the future will be beautiful with you and the dream will be more real. I will learn to be intoxicated in your love. Lu Chen, I will not retreat. You will protect me through the night. The two joined hands. I am willing to stay with you on this road of love. You are the most precious. In the past Chinese music world in 2016, Lu Chen and Chen Fei were recognized as the best singer couple. However, although both of them have released a hit album, there are only a handful of works sung by a man and a woman. Tian, the most famous one was undoubtedly the theme song of Autumn in My Heart, Your Eyes. This song became popular because of Autumn in My Heart, and in turn more people got to know Lu Qin and Qin Feier. At that time, it became a love song for couples in KTV, and it even spread to Japan, Korea, and Southeast Asia, and was covered by many foreign singers. But Your Eyes was written at the end of 2015, and it has been more than a year since then. After more than a year, the relationship between Lu Qin and Qin Feier became more stable, and the fans also hoped that the two could release more duet works. At this moment, these fans were satisfied. The highest realm of love is to withstand ordinary time. Sometimes happiness is like the sand in the palm of the hand, the tighter you hold it, the faster you lose it. Sometimes happiness is more like the flowers on the other side of the river, faintly visible but untouchable. The love between Lu Qin and Qin Feier was born because of fate. It was not a vigorous and passionate love, but it could withstand the erosion of time like old wine, becoming more and more fragrant with the passage of time. Because in each other's hearts, they were the most precious existence. Who ignited the heart of waiting in the dark night, who waited for the persistence of love and loneliness, and who let the yearning radiate the light of love in the morning and dusk. This song, You're the Most Precious, was written by Lu Qin for Qin Feier, and it sang his unwavering faith in love. Only in this way could it be the most touching. In the Forget Grass bar, it was very quiet, and only the two's voices were intertwined and lingering in everyone's ears, touching the heartstrings, and feeling the sweetness and beauty of love. The same melody, the same lyrics, repeated over and over again, the suppressed feelings gradually accumulated until the climax came, like the waves of the sea hitting the dam of the heart, making a loud sound. I am willing to stay with you on this road of love, you're the most precious. When Qin Feier and Lu Qin finished singing the last sentence, both of them saw the unchanging tenderness and firmness in each other's eyes, and their feelings were sublimated to a higher level at this moment. And this unspeakable tacit understanding deeply infected everyone present, including the fans, the guests and friends. The bar was so quiet that even the sound of a pin dropping could be heard, and even the breathing had stopped. It was Lu Qin who broke the silence, holding Qin Feier's hand tightly and said, "You're the most precious." Thank you, everyone. The next moment, the applause broke out fiercely, pushing the atmosphere of the fan appreciation party to the climax in an instant. There were no cheers, no whistles, only the purest applause. In the corner, Mu Xiaochu secretly wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes, smiled and applauded. Note, You're the Most Precious lyricist, Lin Mingyang / composer, Ling Weiwen. Chapter 533. The song You're the Most Precious touched the whole audience, and also touched the thousands of fans in the live broadcast room. What the hell, it's another inhumane single abuse. I feel like I've been hit by 10,000 points of critical damage again. Single dogs have no human rights. My chin is so romantic. If anyone writes a love song for me like this, I will definitely marry him. I silently took a bite of the steamed bun. I'd better go back to Bachelor Star. The earth is too dangerous. It's easy to show love. It's good. Sing another song. The fans' demand was so strong, so after singing You're the Most Precious, Qin Feier and Lu Qin sang Your Eyes, which everyone was familiar with. Tien Your Eyes. On the first day of 2017, the Lu Qin's fan appreciation party held at Forget Grass Bar in Beijing Hohai basically came to an end. Although the fans wanted to say more, but the good times were always too fast. Life is like a journey. Lu Qin picked up the guitar again, stood in front of the microphone and said, "You never know what kind of scenery there will be along the way, whether you will encounter wind and rain or sunshine, but because you are accompanying me, I will never feel afraid, really. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank all my friends who support me." The last song, Journey, is for everyone. It was the last song and everyone couldn't help but be disappointed. However, Lu Qin gave everyone another surprise at the end. Because this song was also a new song, the third original work tonight. Gusts of evening wind blow the pine trees, blowing the wind chimes is like the sound of nature. Standing in the silence of the city, let all the noise go away. Only the green mountains hide among the white clouds, butterflies freely pass through the clear stream, watching the sunset bloom on the horizon, a flock of birds returning to the west. With a simple and pure guitar accompaniment, coupled with Lu Qin's wholehearted interpretation, this song Journey instantly brought the fans at the scene into a wild world with clear clouds and beautiful mountains. His voice was warm and bright, lingering in everyone's ears, as if it had the power to penetrate the soul. It made people yearn for it. Who painted this world, drew me and you, let our world be colorful. Who made us cry, another surprise for us. Let us love each other like this. We always have to say goodbye, gathering and parting always on the long road. The lyrics, melody and artistic conception of this song Journey were highly harmonious and unified. It had a deep feeling of entering the world as well as the freedom of being born into the world. It showed the composer's extraordinary musical thoughts and emotions. The pine trees, wind chimes, butterflies and sunset glow in the lyrics were like colorful flowers that could be picked up at will, exuding a poetic fragrance. Listening to such a song was definitely enjoyable, and the fans were already enjoying it. The surging emotions in their hearts were quietly soothed, and they no longer had any regrets. Many of the fans who attended the thank you ceremony would return home after tonight. It was believed that with this song accompanying them on their journeys, they would not be lonely, nor would they be reluctant to part. Goodbye. At the entrance of Forget Grass Bar, Lu Chen personally sent off the last few fans. Since they were all girls, he specifically reminded them, rest early, be careful and have a safe trip. One of the female fans took a few steps before reluctantly turning her head back. Suddenly she turned around and threw herself at Lu Chen. Lu Chen reacted quickly and quickly held her up. Be careful. The other party was obviously too reluctant to leave. Tears were flowing down her face as she grabbed onto Lu Chen's arm and refused to let go. Fortunately, her companion was very sensible and coaxed her to take her away, saving Lu Chen a lot of trouble. Lin Jijie, who came out together with them, said teasingly, Lu Chen, your charm is getting bigger and bigger. Even I am worried for Fei, who attracts so many bees and butterflies like you. Needless to say, the female fan who was pestering Lu Chen just now was really pretty. Fei was Chen Fei Er's English name. She was right behind Lin Jijie, pursing her lips and smiling. Lu Chen smiled bitterly. Brother Jijie, please be merciful with your words. As his fame grew and his popularity grew, it was inevitable that more fans would bring some trouble. There were always a few extreme fans among all kinds of fans. Lu Chen Studio and Lu Shi have received harassing phone calls from some crazy fans as well as parcel mails and so on, but they were all handled in a low-key manner. Like this female fan just now, she was already very gentle, at least she didn't do anything too outrageous. Lin Jijie was also joking. He took the opportunity to say, you can be merciful but write 3 more songs for our Flying Stone. As the music director and deputy general manager of Flying Stone Records, Lin Jijie also had a lot of complaints about Lu Chen's wanton squandering of talent. The most direct example was Lu Chen's 2 albums, You Who Sat Next to Me, and The Ordinary Road. Each of the 20 songs was a masterpiece. If he was allowed to operate, these works were enough to make 4 or 5 singers popular, or produce 4 or more hit albums. It was too extravagant. But what made people speechless was that Lu Chen's musical creative inspiration seemed to be inexhaustible. At a small fan appreciation meeting tonight, he came up with 3 excellent works. If Lin Jijie was indifferent, it would be strange. In fact, since Lu Chen started to make TV plays and movies, even Flying Stone Records, which has a good relationship with Lu Chen Studio, was not easy to invite songs from him. Lin Jijie originally thought that Lu Chen's creation had reached a bottleneck, and he was busy with filming, so it was normal. Only now did he find out that it was not the case at all. Lu Chen said with a smile, 3 songs are too many. Give I've Heard Your Song to Little Chu. Of the 3 songs he took out in the evening, 1 was for Mu Xiaochu and 1 was for Chen Fei. The last one was, of course, reserved for himself. How could Lin Jijie agree? He forced Lu Chen to promise to give him another song before he left contentedly. When Lu Chen and Chen Fei returned home, it was already midnight when the 2 took a shower and went to bed. Perhaps she was moved, perhaps she had feelings, or perhaps because she was facing parting again. Although she was quite tired, Chen Fei warmly and actively made love to Lu Chen. She wanted Lu Chen again and again until she was exhausted and fell asleep. Lu Chen couldn't fall asleep. He quietly covered Chen Fei with the quilt, bowed his head and kissed her on the forehead, and then turned off the bedside lamp. After that, Lu Chen went to the study alone and turned on the computer. He pulled up the documents stored on the hard disk, and typed out rows of unfinished words with his fingers. The road of life is long. In 2017, a new journey has just begun. Note, lyrics/composer of Journey, Su Wei. Chapter 534. As soon as New Year's Day 2017 passed, Lu Chen flew back to Hong Kong. The post-production special effects of A Chinese Ghost Story were in the midst of working overtime. The post-production also involved editing, dubbing, and music. As a key figure, he could not leave for too long. Otherwise it would affect the release plan. Therefore, as soon as he returned to Hong Kong, Lu Qin did not rush back to his studio. Instead, he went to Starlight Painting. The special effects of A Chinese Ghost Story were outsourced to Starlight Painting of Hong Kong. Starlight Painting was not the largest film and television special effects production company in the Hong Kong industry, but it was strong and experienced. It had participated in the special effects production of many domestic dramas and had a good reputation in the circle. As a fantasy romance film born out of strange tales from a Chinese studio, A Chinese Ghost Story did not involve many special effects scenes, but the post-production special effects were really worth every penny. Therefore, in this regard, Lu Qin was not careless at all and directly set a budget of tens of millions. Many domestic movies or TV series, including those in Hong Kong, were often reluctant to invest in this aspect. On the one hand, they shouted that they wanted to connect with Hollywood, and on the other hand, they made do with the audience. The resulting 50-cent special effects made people not know whether to laugh or cry. In the end, the loss outweighed the gain. Lu Qin would not make such a stupid mistake. The level of Starlight Painting was quite good. Lu Qin was also very satisfied with a few scenes done in advance. Director 1, thank you for your hard work. Ever since A Chinese Ghost Story was completed, Wan Xiaoquan, the real behind-the-scenes director, did not have time to rest. Even on New Year's Day, he stayed in Hong Kong to supervise the post-production of the movie. Without his hard work, Lu Qin would not have been so relaxed. It would have been a problem if A Chinese Ghost Story could have been made. Therefore, Lu Qin, who flew back from the capital, was a little embarrassed to see Wan Xiaoquan again in Starlight Painting. In terms of wholehearted love for movies, he was not as good as Wan Xiaoquan. However, after putting in so much effort, Wan Xiaoquan could not hang his name in the subtitles of A Chinese Ghost Story. However, Wan Xiaoquan was willing to endure it. He smiled and said, "It's not hard. This movie has the potential to be a hit. It's worth it no matter how hard it is, but," he hesitated for a moment and said, "according to the current production progress, I'm afraid we might not be able to make it in time for the Spring Festival." January 27th was New Year's Eve, and there was only a little more than a month until the Lantern Festival. With the request made by Lu Qin, even if Starlight did its best, it might not be able to meet the requirements for A Chinese Ghost Story to be released in the Spring Festival slot. Because even if the special effects were completed, the dubbing, music and editing were all done, they still had to submit it for approval, screening, publicity and so on. Time was really too tight. Unless the post-production requirements were lowered. It's fine even if we can't make it in time for the Spring Festival slot. In this regard, Lu Qin resolutely said, "First of all, you have to ensure the quality. I only want the best." The domestic film market was hot, and the Spring Festival period was the period of the box office explosion. Originally, Lu Qin had planned to use Xiang Xiangjiang's new film support policy to benefit from the Spring Festival period. But he would never lower his expectations for the quality of the film because of this. In Lu Qin's dream world, the original version of A Chinese Ghost Story was undoubtedly a real classic. Now that he had moved this movie into reality, he could only do it better with all his heart so that he would not ruin the classic. Lu Qin would not forgive himself if he worked so hard at the beginning but did it carelessly in order to meet the schedule. His attitude made Wan Xiaoquan very pleased. Wan Xiaoquan had been in the industry for so many years and had made many movies. He had also encountered investors and producers who were eager for quick success and profits. In order to rush back the funds, they made all kinds of unreasonable requests. In Wan Xiaoquan's opinion, there were many bad movies in China, and these people had to bear a lot of responsibility. He had once worried that Lu Qin was young and impetuous, or that he was anxious to make money and would not pay attention to the post-production. Now it seemed that Wan Xiaoquan's worries were unnecessary. Only then would his work be valuable. Then there's no problem. After staying at Starlight Studio for the whole afternoon, it was not until evening that Lu Qin returned to the studio. It was past the time to get off work and there was basically no one in the office, but the light in the secretary's office was still on. Li Zhen was sitting in front of the computer, busy working, and did not even notice the appearance of Lu Qin. Seeing this scene, Lu Qin, who had just come in, could not help but ask, "Zhen, you haven't gone back yet?" "Ah." Li Zhen was shocked. Seeing that it was Lu Qin, she breathed a big sigh of relief. She quickly got up and said, "Young Master Lu, you're back? I'm about to get off work." She knew that Lu Qin returned to Hong Kong today, and she also knew that Lu Qin went to Starlight Studio to supervise the work. She did not expect that he would come to the studio so late. "What can I do for you? Do you need my help?" Lu Qin said with a smile, No, I'm here to get something and leave. I can send you back. Thank you, young Master Lu. Li Zhen hurriedly tidied up the scattered documents on the table as well as the invitations and business cards and said, I also have work to report to you. Lu Chen nodded and said, then let's talk in the car. Since the last time he defeated Hong Hua and defeated the local tyrant with a strong background, Lu Chen Film and Television Studio was really famous in the circle of Hong Kong, and more people knew about it. Lu Gongxing's appreciation of Lu Chen made his reputation even higher. After that, people came to the studio to seek cooperation in various ways, and people invited Lu Chen to dinner or to participate in programs. He had only left Hong Kong for a few days, but Li Zhen had a thick stack of invitations. Sitting in Lu Chen's car, she reported to Lu Chen as if she was familiar with her family's treasures. Hong Kong Star Entertainment invites you to attend their company reception tomorrow night. This is the business card of the chairman of Baolu Group. He wants to ask you to meet, and this one was sent by Miss Xu Jing herself. She hopes you can attend the release conference of her new album. In addition, wait. Lu Chen suddenly interrupted her. You mean Miss Xu Jing? Oh, yes. Li Zhen was stupefied and immediately reacted. She took out the invitation letter and handed it to Lu Chen. Lu Chen took it and looked at it carefully. Xu Jing's album release conference was tomorrow night. Xu Jing was a celebrity in the circle that Lu Chen met when he first came to Hong Kong. She debuted very early and married into a rich family after becoming famous. Later, she divorced her husband and returned to the entertainment circle. Xu Jing was very enthusiastic about charity and had a lot of connections in the circle. She was friends with Chen Feier. Although there was this relationship because Lu Chen had a coffee with her alone once and was photographed by paparazzi, there was a small scandal, so Lu Chen basically didn't contact her much. But the release conference of her new album really had something to do with him. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.